Unless you really want me to start it, then I'll do it.
Wait, am I supposed to start?
Yeah, that's what I said. Whenever you're ready.
Oh my God!
You're starting us off. The ad thing at the beginning.
That starts the podcast?
That starts the podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, this episode of Just Some Guardians is brought to you by He Shirt, She Shirt, an Etsy shop that is the most accommodating and wondrous Etsy shop I have ever ordered from. You can find them on Etsy by searching He Shirt, She Shirt. That's not a Dr. Seuss conundrum. It's He Shirt, She Shirt.
Kind of.
This is literally the most comfortable T-shirt I have ever. That's creepy.
Yeah, it's so luxurious.
It's the most comfortable T-shirt I have literally ever ordered online, and I've ordered quite a few, especially since COVID shut down everything. No, legit, and I will say that they have beautiful koozies that they include, and decals. You can't really see it. Decals don't translate. It looks like a white piece of paper.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, imaginary. No, there is a decal.
I promise.
It's upside down. We won't. There you go. There. Okay, so this decal. I got two. One is on my car. Subaru Crosstrek 2017, just saying. The other is here in my hand. But no, He Shirt, She Shirt on Etsy. Unbelievable customer service, unbelievable quality. Just Some Guardians would not be where they are sitting in their chairs wearing the t-shirts right now if it wasn't for He Shirt, She Shirt.
Yeah, those of you on the audio side of this, all of us on the show right now are wearing our Just Some Guardians shirts in the same color. Yeah.
They're offered in white or cream right now, and the three of us have creamed ourselves with Just Some Guardians swag. Just saying. How does that go, Brett? Is that good?
It's so good. It feels great.
Oh my God.
It's like it's real and it's happening. It's just it's a flip. It's a trip.
It's Friday, so we wear cream.
Yeah. And don't forget to use code JSGCast for 10% off of your order. HeShirtSheShirt.com. Wow.
Yeah.
Right on. Yeah, anything we haven't introduced you yet, but this is just where we're talking about how great the shirt is, Phoenix. If you want to say anything, go for it.
It's fantastic.
You heard him, folks. It's fantastic.
Like they said. I also have ordered a lot of shirts online, and they are garbage. This was a pleasant surprise for a lot cheaper than most shirts you will order. It's awesome.
And the koozie and decals was a surprise. I had no idea he was doing that.
Oh, yeah.
And then everyone was like, hey, I'm getting this. And I'm like, wait, what? That's so cool.
I opened it, and I'm like, what? Okay, so real quick, not to derail. When I was a child, I was in like the Cub Scouts and the Tiger Cubs before that, when I was even younger. And we had like tiger paws that you'd iron on to your shirt. They trusted parents to iron on things to your shirt. The majority of shirts I order online are that quality. Yeah. Like, parent just ironed on the tiger paw for the Tiger Cub kid. No, this is legit. And this is coming from someone who has peeled off more things from their shirt than their parents ever cared to admit. He Shirt, She Shirt. Legit.
He Shirt, She Shirt. Legit.
They'll make you wet.
They'll make you cream.
Yeah. Thanks for that ad read, buddy. We absolutely appreciate you sweating it out last second and sending it in just in time. All right. So this is where intro music would be. It's still a work in progress, sadly. So Mr. Gunbait101 is the man working on our music. He did have to put his little puppy dog down this week, which is sad.
Oh.
Yeah. So he hasn't been able to work on it. So moment for Gunbait's dog. Yep. So welcome to episode 92, everybody, of Just Some Guardians. Yeah, merriment, laughter, and joy. That's the peak we're riding right now to start this show. Folks, I'm Elmer Fudd. I'm here to host. I'm here to guide us. I'm here to cherish every single one of you and to coddle your ear holes with our words. That's nice. Russell will be here at some point. He's very late. He had to work at like midnight on his Friday night. So, whatever. I'm sure he's just jerking it in the bathroom right now, thinking about his life. But we do have, just the ever sensuous Sandbag Bob here. What's up, brother?
Hey, boy. How you doing?
I'm great, man. I'm fantastic. I hit a wall earlier. I've been back at work a little bit this week, and I'm gonna take a nap every day because I'm just getting wiped. And I didn't nap today, and so I hit my second wall like right before we started the call, which was the perfect time to hit a second wall.
That's true.
Yeah,
that's true.
So we'll pull through, man.
Swag. Yeah. This week has been. I said swag. That's just we want to avoid that.
Yeah.
I did it. I did it. It
Swag
happened.
on, everyone.
No, this week was chaotic. It was crazy. It was ridiculous. And when I woke up this morning and it was Friday, needless to say, I celebrated a bit, which made my dog, Kevin, wonder what was going on. Why are we so excited? It's Friday morning. Oh, my God. No, I'm very happy to be here.
Good.
Very happy.
Hell yeah. It's going to be a good show tonight because we have with us, folks.
Oh.
We have a guest, which you already. It's not a big surprise because we already. I don't know why am I doing this way.
You can see his face on the stream for those of you tuning in.
Yeah, Just Some Guardians, twitch.tv/Just Some Guardians Friday nights about 11:30 p.m. Eastern time. You can see the face of the guy I talked about during the ad read. You already know he's here, ladies and gentlemen. It's the Risen Phoenix. What's up, dude?
Maybe they skipped the ad read.
That could don't
some
dare.
people are douches.
Skip the ad
and they skip ad reads. Don't be a douche.
That's why we periodically
He-shirt,
throw it in
she-shirt.
randomly. Exactly. He shirt, she shirt. Yeah.
It's
Well, how's your week been, buddy?
Ain't been bad. Shit happens. Can't complain. Been
Amen.
pretty decent.
I mean, if you want to
And-
complain, we're here for you.
Hell, I'm on this show, so it got a hell of a lot better.
Oh, dude.
Aw,
You look good in that shirt from He Shirt, She Shirt. That's all I'm saying.
that's true.
Thank you. He shirt, she shirt. Did me good.
Yeah.
Gave me bonus shit. I didn't order, and I was scared because I'm like, I didn't order that. What'd they charge me?
Yeah. Go check. Yeah. Don't
I
worry.
got bonus. Straight up.
That's the way to go, man. He Shirt, She Shirt. Crazy stuff. Crazy
They're the
stuff. Well, I mean, it's weird not having Russell here right now. You know what I mean, everybody?
Yeah, no story about eating shit.
Yeah.
Lack of poop jokes. Yeah.
Yeah. So you got
Stories about
poop? Anyone got some poop stories?
no. I mean,
I almost shit myself like a week ago, but
Okay.
that's just morning farts.
you ever so for Christmas I got one of those like NutriBullet blenders, which I've been wanting for a while.
Oh, yeah.
But I have to tell you, like making yourself a smoothie every day with like spinach and avocado and pineapple and coconut,
Mm-hmm.
stuff starts to just flow through you
Oh.
a lot faster than you
Yeah.
expected.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I'm just going to leave it at that. We'll leave the gruesome details to Russell, who will be joining us later.
Yeah,
because
and he'll
he's
definitely have
the
a story. He's probably pooping. He's going to join in like an hour and be like, guys, whoa, I've been shitting for 3 hours straight.
He's going to be like, you said NutriBullet. I'm going to say Russell Bullet.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Oh, my God.
We had to get our toilet replaced today.
It's the third one this week. Damn it, Russ.
They blame seismic activity. Little do they know.
Yeah. I check Russell's local forecast sometimes just to kind of, be in the know.
Mm.
Oh, Jesus. Well, what's everyone up to gaming-wise, all that good stuff this week, man? Phoenix, let's start with you, bud. What have you been up to? How's the new... Didn't the new Destiny thing drop or something? I'm not playing currently, so I don't remember.
It did, but I have yet to touch it. Just because I know once I jump into it, I'm going to be kind of locked in. I'm still trying to finish Cyberpunk, even though I've played it for like
hell yeah.
90 hours and only halfway through the campaign.
How's that going?
Going pretty good. I mean, yeah, I've hit some of the glitches people do, but not nearly as bad as everyone says. Granted, I'm on PC, so maybe that's part of it.
Yeah.
But it's a hella fun game.
That's awesome. What's
I'm
your
just enjoying fucking around.
What's your favorite aspect of it? Like, what part of it, like, just hooks you?
Just running in with either a big katana or mantis blades, and everybody shooting me with shotguns and all their smart bullets and power weapons, and I run up, slice the dude's head off, and mow through all of them like it's nothing.
That's so awesome.
I'm just tanking through everything.
Oh, the mental image, man. Yeah, I love shit like that.
Oh,
I'm bringing a knife to a gunfight, and I'm gonna win.
Pan Am.
Yeah.
And I will win.
Yeah. Oh man, welcome to Flavor Town.
It's funny you say that. That's what I call my taint, Flavor Town.
Lord.
Welcome. Oh god. You gotta. Did you make your dick like a little like shirt that's got flames all over it?
Oh my god.
I would have, but it's too small.
And then bleach your
You have to have a magnifying glass to see that it's a shirt.
It's like a German army helmet just attached to my helmet.
On the fur coat.
Yeah, God, that's all I want to say. Going to Google. No. Well, I know we were just talking about Cyberpunk a little bit in my Discord today. You've been playing that recently too, Nick, right?
Yeah, so oddly enough, I got it day one. Strangely enough, like right before Jake and I got Cyberpunk, I managed to land a PS5, thanks to a Google Chrome add-in, whatever, that helped me keep track of when Sony was going to drop stock on like the PlayStation Live like actual store. So I landed a PS5, and then Jake got my PS4 Pro. He gets my hand-me-down.
Here you go.
Here you go. It's for you.
It's for you, big man.
It's for you. So we both started at the same time. I read in their announcement that they were launching like a PS5 version that would, quote, take advantage of all of the PS5's features. And if you have a PS5, if you played Astro's Playroom, unbelievable platformer, unbelievable like love story to like PlayStation gamers, and it really makes you feel like the DualSense controller and what it can do. So at that point, I decided, and I was like 20 hours into Cyberpunk, I'm gonna stop, and I will pick up the game again and start new if I have to, or finish my current save on the PS5 version once it actually comes out. But the 20 or so hours I played, I loved it. Yes, there were bugs. Yes, I crashed, but not really that big of a deal. When I come from like a PC gaming background, I'm used to bugs and crashing, so it wasn't that big of a deal. This whole concept, like transferring over to console in the last maybe 5 to 7 years, I can get why everyone's like up in arms and it's like, oh, the sky is falling. Like, I get it. I get it, though. That's the way gaming was on PC forever. But I'm not going to finish Cyberpunk until PS5 version comes out, so I can feel it with my DualSense controller.
Yes, indeed. Oh boy.
Yeah.
It helps when you go into it knowing you're probably gonna have bugs and crashes. Like, then it happens. You're like, oh, well, there it is. Like I thought.
Right.
Yeah.
I've beta tested a few games too, so it's like it seems sick and wrong that I was like, oh, this is like a beta test, because it was the launch for a game. So I totally, like, don't get me wrong, I'm not like writing off Cyberpunk or CD Projekt Red and what happened with Cyberpunk, because I think they kind of deserved the backlash that they got, but at the same time, it didn't surprise me or shock me.
Yeah.
So.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But can I mention, and I don't mean to like take too much time in the beginning, you mentioned the Destiny, like
go
the
for
new season.
Do your thing.
So Season of the Chosen just launched, and I've been playing it.
Oh, I didn't know that actually.
Yeah. It's kind of fun. So the story, for those of you that are Destiny lore versed, is Emperor Callus's daughter, Keitel, has now claimed the throne of the Cabal Empire because the darkness showed up in the Sol system, and Callus and the Leviathan just hightailed it up. We don't know what the hell happened. They're gone. Grow fat from strength and run away. Okay. So Keitel comes in. She calls like the leaders of the Vanguard, and so Osiris and Zavala show up, and she asks, join my empire, we can stop the hive and we can stop the darkness and we can thrive as a society, because apparently the Cabal homeworld was taken over by the darkness during the interim between the Red War and where we are right now. And so Tora Badal, the Cabal homeworld, is totally gone. Like, it's not even on the map anymore. And
idiots.
Zavala tells her no. And if you've watched anything on Twitter lately or Reddit, if you're following, Lance Reddick decided to be like the OG boss of all OG bosses, and basically told us, if you're at war with the Cabal, whether you like it or not, then you're a bitch. No, you literally have got to look this up on Reddit.
It's
he
so
took a
good.
meme of what Zavala should have said in that moment. And he actually read it as Zavala, which is the best thing I think I've ever watched on Reddit.
Yeah.
It was Keitel. Empress Keitel is basically asking the Vanguard to join forces and bow, and he says no, and that's it. And this is all spawning from a dude on Reddit, or I forget where it originated, but it was a meme that was basically saying what Zavala really should have said in that moment. And Lance Reddick, the voice actor for Zavala, decided to go online and read that meme response as the character, and it was just genius. So, yeah, I'd be lying if I didn't say all day today I was muttering to myself as Zavala. So... But no, Season of the Chosen, it introduces a new mode called Battleground. It's basically like Horde mode, as close as you can get in Destiny, where it's not Horde mode insofar as like you bunker down in one place and fight for your lives. You kind of slowly work your way towards the command ship and kill the boss. But the sheer amount of Cabal you're fighting is insane.
That's awesome.
I mean, insane. The waves and the Leviathan in the main room, it makes that look like a small amount of Cabal. It's cool.
That sounds awesome.
That's all. I'm sorry. I've taken up a lot.
No, you're good. Hey, there we go. That's we used to be a Destiny podcast. It's the most Destiny we've had in a long time. We brought it back. Full circle. Look at that.
Say, I logged in just long enough to see that one of the brand new emotes is the power line dance from a Goofy movie.
Yeah, I did see
it.
I did.
Are you kidding me?
No,
that's a real thing.
It 100% the power line dance that they do at the end of the movie on stage.
Mm-hmm.
The perfect cast dance.
I might actually buy some.
And then I popped off there because, again, I'll probably get hooked, but I got too much stuff to play right now.
Yeah, hooked, perfect cast. I see what you did there.
Oh,
you're so witty, Mr. Risen Phoenix.
You'd be surprised that was not intentional.
I don't believe
but I'm going to go with it.
Take the credit. Take it. And run.
Will Ferrell's Anchorman grabbing a cig. I don't believe you. All right, there we go. I don't think I've been doing it. I've been playing a ton of Sea of Thieves. That's been really good right now. With the
that's a solid game.
Yeah, with now they have the seasonal content. That's been really cool. They've got this event going on where you can unlock all these weapon skins and then a title for killing skeleton captains and ghost ships. We've just been grinding out ghost ships like crazy. It's been super fun.
Wait, which game is this?
Sea of Thieves.
Oh my God, Sea of Thieves. I forgot that was a thing.
Sea of Thieves, yes.
So that's where you've been putting your... I'm a Spaniard.
I'm a Spaniard now, yes. I've been sailing the seven seas around Sicily.
Pirate become bad Sean Connery impression.
It's good Sean Connery. Mr. Risen Phoenix.
Well, some of Sean Connery's worst accent attempts.
Well, all of his
Impressions.
I'm a Spaniard. I'm a Russian submarine captain. I'm from Boston. I'm now a New Yorker.
I'm a dragon.
Yeah, I'm now a dragon. Yeah. It's just the same.
Pipes up my ass.
Wait, you don't normally?
All the time.
I thought that was
When
normal.
I fought, you hear Scotland the Brave.
Freedom! But no, so there's the Captain Flameheart event, which I'd never done. It's this big floating orange skull in the distance, Captain Flameheart. And you go there, his whole like ghost ship fleet comes out, and it's just like wave after wave after wave of this stuff. And I'd never done it, and so me and Clear Knight, who's been on the show before, sat down and did it, just the two of us in a sloop, which is the smallest ship. It's for two people. And man, that was one of the most stressful things I think I've ever done in gaming, period. We were just crying, screaming, fixing, repairing, shooting cannons off both sides. They're coming in and out because they'll like come out of a portal and come towards you and then teleport over here and over there. And I'm like spinning the wheel to try not to have them run into us and threading the needle everywhere. It was terrifying. And once we had the last wave, there's the capital ship in the middle and there's like 6 ghost ships around it. And so we're just blasting cannons into these ships and nothing's happening until we realize only the middle one can actually take damage. So then we had to maneuver our little ship like between all these big ones while getting fired at and repairing just to try to get some cannon fire into the main one. We're like, oh dear God, please no.
So is the little ship like a dinghy?
Kind of, yeah. It's, no, not a dinghy.
Like, did you have to row or did it have like a sail?
No, it had a sail, but it's just like,
oh, okay.
There's one sail, a smaller deck, and one cannon on each side, and that's like it. It's very small.
Wow.
Yeah. And so most people try to do this in like a galleon, which, you know, the big ship. You got cannons everywhere, a whole crew to rock and roll. And so we finally had to like angle ourselves in just the weirdest spot and just lob cannons and pray until it finally ended and the music hit and he did his voice line and it was a joyous moment. Yeah, one of the most intense. It ended. My heart was pumping for the night. I couldn't sleep for like 4 hours. I was just laying in bed going,
fire all! I didn't fire that one.
I grabbed Lisa. You don't know what I've been through.
You're afraid to get wet.
You're afraid to get wet. Jim. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
It was a good time.
That sounds so fantastic.
Yeah, it was awesome.
See, now I'm extra glad I didn't do that. The last time I played, last week or something.
Yeah.
My 9-year-old's like, "Hey, Dad, today." We played the day before.
Uh-huh.
She's like, "Okay, today we stayed away from Flameheart. Today we're gonna kick his butt." I doubt it. Every time she started to head towards him, I'm like, "Hey, what's that?"
Yeah,
They're shiny.
Yeah,
let's go over here. Oh wait, there's a ghost ship or there's another player. Let's go the exact opposite direction of Flameheart because she's good, but they're no. We ain't taking down Flameheart in a sloop.
We'll get a galleon and we'll take you over there. And then I'll jump off it and let you guys just do it because I ain't doing that again.
That's what I do.
You'll do the heavy looking on.
Yeah. I'll be in the crow's nest the whole time. Looks like there's ships over there. Could be dangerous. Good luck.
Oh, is that cannon fire?
Sounds
I
dangerous.
certainly wasn't standing at the top of the ship with a TNT barrel or a gunpowder barrel.
Not.
I was not doing that.
Oh, I did. Also with Sea of Thieves real quick, just for fun. So the Xbox Game Pass also transfers over to PC. So if you Sea of Thieves is free on that, so I haven't had to pay a dime, right? And so all the content they drop is free. The seasonal update they dropped was free. So I've been playing, off and on. I'll play hard for like a couple weeks and then, not for a while. But I'm like, I've put enough time in this. And I've never spent a dime. And I'm that guy that like feels bad for that. So I was like, all right, I'm going to buy a ship skin. I'm like, that's not bad. I can do that. I put enough time in the game. And so I'm looking through, and they had a bunch of, like, homages to, like, classic games. Like, there was a Battletoad ship and Conker's Bad Fur Day and all that kind of stuff,
Oh, my God. Conker.
Yeah.
Wow.
But I had to go with this special ship and it was for Banjo-Kazooie.
No.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
It is like just super bright yellows and reds. There's musical notes across the front. There's like they can't use exact likeness, but it's designed for that, right? So I have this bear on the front with this red bird on the back, and like the cannons are all gold plated and everything, and the sails are yellow. You what?
Is there a jiggy? Is there like a puzzle piece?
Yeah.
Oh,
there's puzzle pieces on the cannons. On the capstan, there's a giant puzzle piece. I think on the sail, there's a big puzzle piece. Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's all there.
That is beautiful.
It's so good. My favorite thing, though. So I just like the idea of just everyone does these like dark brooding, I'm a pirate ship, Some of this like just neon yellows and blues and reds ship, sailing around. But so it came with a Canon Effect, which is a new thing in the game. Newer to me, at least, I guess. But so every time you fire a cannon out, like particle effects and feathers just go everywhere, like you just blew up a chicken when you fired your cannon. It's so amazing. So like we were in the brig, which is like the medium-sized ship, last night actually. And I had friends on both cannons, and they're blasting, and I'm piloting, and there's just like feathers billowing past me the whole time. I'm like, blah, 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 while I'm trying to sail.
I'm glad I'm not glued here.
Yeah, exactly. Man, yeah, jeez. Yeah, Banjo-Kazooie ship. It made me very happy. I had to do that.
So fantastic.
I know, right?
Of all things, Banjo-Kazooie, they've almost, had it not been for Smash Ultimate, like including Banjo and Kazooie, they would have almost faded into non-existence.
Oh yeah, but not in my heart.
Not in my little jiggy.
That's underneath my JSG shirt from He Shirt, She Shirt.
Softest shirt I've ever ordered online.
Indeed. Well, folks, we do have an actual, topic for the night chosen by one Arisen Phoenix. And I think it was an incredible topic. It started off as an insanely broad topic, which we then had to kind of focus down into not being an 8-hour show.
It could have been, definitely.
Yeah.
Do you see a dog?
I do want to see a dog.
Is there a dog in the background behind you?
I think that was a cat.
Was it a cat or a dog?
I think it was a cat.
Yeah, it'd be the cat. The dog's upstairs locked in a room with the girls.
Sorry, I was like totally. I saw 4 legs and a tail, and I'm like, yeah,
squirrel.
She decides this is the perfect time to play.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sometimes she's jumped in the room and jumped back out
Yeah,
for no reason. There's
if
no
this
one to
door
blame.
wasn't closed, there'd probably be a cat laying like right here.
Yeah, I got both the doors in here closed to keep Kevin out.
Yeah,
so.
I hear that.
Yep.
So our topic for the night, folks, is a wonderful show, right? One of the greatest animated series to ever grace the television screen, our hearts. I believe I actually have the box series because it was that good. And I'm very glad you chose this. I'm very excited to get into it. After I say the name, brother, I'm throwing it to you, and you're going to get us started because it was your choice. Good luck. Folks, we're talking about Batman, the animated series. Phoenix, guide us in, brother.
The greatest show of our childhood. If you didn't see it, get fucked.
Yeah, I'll agree with that.
You
Really?
did not grow up if you didn't see this show. I don't care age. You could have been 20 when it came out. Go check out the show. You could have been still a twinkle in your daddy's eye when the show came out. Go watch the show.
Yeah. I think, some kids were probably made while watching the show.
100%.
Yeah.
Harley Quinn, Catwoman.
The
Joker.
week. And he's like, oh, Batman, the animated series. And I'm like, wait a minute. Like from the 90s, like red sky and lightning, pan up, I am the night. And he's like, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah. That show and all the movies that it spawned.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Mask of the Phantasm, can I just say, I saw that in theaters and it was packed.
Oh, yeah.
And that was a movie for an animated show
Mm-hmm.
in the 90s. Way ahead of its time as far as storytelling goes, as far as voice acting goes, as far as animation goes.
Oh.
I mean, it hit every single nail that you need to hit to be like a serious serial television show way before anything else in the category.
Yeah. And then
I saw some kind of documentary or whatever, behind the scenes kind of thing,
yeah.
where like Batman was dying off in popularity. They tried with the first Tim Burton movie, and it helped things a bit, but then they decided, let's make a cartoon series in the same styling, and it completely like quadrupled the attention to Batman.
Oh yeah. Cuz
And saved.
I hadn't
Batman.
really had a lot of interest in that kind of stuff when I was, when did it actually launch? Yeah, I was like really young when it launched, so I had no idea. And that really shaped and molded me for who I am, like getting into that side of, well, I guess just becoming a geek nerd kind of guy, you know? Is just like, wait, what's this? Oh, this is amazing. Oh, this action is great. I like this art style. Wait, there's more like this? And that got me over into, the X-Men and anything else you can think of that this show guided a lot of us as kids into other sections of nerdom. And then like something you brought up, Nick, is like having, it had a serious tone that wasn't really around for a kid's show at the time.
No.
Like it was very mature for what it was. But not in a for mature audiences kind of thing,
Like they got really dark without
being too dark, yeah.
Yeah.
That's an important thing there, because I think you watch it from like the perspective of a child.
Mm-hmm.
It's very intense and very serious. You watch it from the perspective of an adult. Like if you were to go back to and watch it now, it is aged so well. It's not even funny. I mean, you pick up on tones and themes and things that are suggested that you did pick up on as a child, and they helped you grow to who you are now. But if you were to go and watch it now, even without having experienced it as a child, you're going to notice the social commentary in there.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to notice the narrative undertones that are there. It was impeccable, not even just in dialogue and storytelling, but like, for me at least, and it probably existed beforehand. To me, I don't like the hero Superman. I think he's boring and a throwaway. Like, oh, he's perfect.
I agree with that 100%. Yeah.
The square jaw and the voice of that Batman,
Kevin Conroy.
Thank you. Because I wasn't going to look it up because my keyboard's unplugged. Forgetting can be good.
Wait a second.
But you have a laptop.
You would have had to look it up?
Okay.
That brings you down a notch if you would have had to look up
I'm
Kevin
a
Conroy.
Marvel fan 90% of the time. But the 90s, like Brett Fudd was saying, the 90s show for Batman, I think, was my gateway into that. Because had I not watched it, I wouldn't have given the X-Men the animated series, the show that we all watched.
And that has to be another episode because I love that show.
I wouldn't have given that show the time of day. I wouldn't have given X-Men Evolution the time of day, which, as much as Batman the animated series was a gateway, I think X-Men Evolution was as well. Again, show for another time.
Yeah, absolutely.
But those moments where Batman would be cloaked and you would see like other characters of the episode talking, and then you see his white eyes open and he walks into the scene and that silky, smooth, deep voice just starts talking. Like, oh my gosh. I don't think a single Batman live action film has captured that.
No, absolutely not.
To this date. Not even close. Like, as far as Batman being like in the shadows and just like coming out and busting your face in, I think Dark Knight Rises, when they're underneath the city, that captured it a little bit. The Batfleck captured it just a little bit in Batman versus Superman, but it hasn't. I mean, that show stands as an island as far as what Bruce Wayne and Batman really is, I think. Yeah. And I'm going to shut up for a bit because I've been talking this out.
Phoenix, bring it.
Yeah, no, Grant, I started rewatching the show because I found out you could, HBO Max, and I remembered the voice being way better in the first couple episodes. Yeah, there's some rockiness there, but still, the show's great because it's so simplistic, and they do amazing things with just black and like 2 hues of gray.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Ridiculous. And yeah, the whole cast were what I think. Oh shit! I just gave him hell for forgetting his name, and I can't. Conroy.
Kevin Conroy. Yeah. Wow. Imagine not knowing Kevin Conroy.
He said he was going to go audition for a small play or something, and his agent's like, just give this voice acting a shot. He's like, nobody watches cartoons. Why would I do that? He's like, you know what? Heck with it. And he jumped in, and then he's working with freaking Mark Hamill and everybody else on that amazing show. Yeah, there's just too much good about the damn show.
Yeah, no,
And
absolutely.
Like, Nick, yeah? Shit. I'm blanking too much. Sorry.
Imagine not knowing Nick.
Imagine, God.
That's Sandbag Bob, damn it.
Well, you can call him that.
You call me Bob Sandbag? Nick?
Yeah.
Late for dinner?
That's
No,
still
don't
wrong.
call me
I don't
late for
know. It's like when you play with somebody for like 2 years on a game, and you know their real name, but it's wrong. It just feels wrong to say their real name.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Anyway, whatever. That's a rabbit hole. But yeah, if that show hadn't got me so hooked, I wouldn't have tried the Spider-Man series. I wouldn't have tried X-Men or any of that. It was a gateway, gorgeous, beautiful.
Jackie Chan Adventures.
Hey, no, that show was shit.
Okay.
Jackie!
I just want to throw out. You'd mentioned that the Batman animated series holds up really well. I went back to watch Jackie Adventures. It does not hold up well.
No.
I went back to it and I was like, this is terrible. But it was one of my favorite shows at the time. But yeah, it's not good.
There's a lot of shows from back then
yeah.
that didn't hold up.
But
Batman does.
So Kevin, we can hit a little more with Kevin Conroy because there's another name that I'm sure we're gonna have a shit ton to talk about. But it just hit those subtle inflections that like I'm happy, I'm angry, I don't care, and everything in between was like just the subtlest little blip. Yeah, just the subtlest little blip, and oh wow, he's feeling, but you picked up on it because it was so different than just the monotone Batman voice, and like, the animation itself was like, you think it's kind of simple because like how the backdrops are and everything. And then once it gets into like the really well animated fight scenes, like the combat in this show was really well done. And then you start realizing like, oh, this is actually pretty in-depth animation, but it was like, I don't know, that art style was just fantastic, man.
It had a really like noir quality to it in the drama, because very distinct drama action.
Yeah,
like dichotomy, and I think in the drama sequences. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, just back to what I had said before. Yeah, they were trying to kind of copy what one of the movies had done, and keep that dark feel, but in a cartoon to add that drama just from the styling of the art. But it was still the hand painted. I can't remember what it's called.
Backdrops.
Yeah, it was like
Kevin Conroy.
Kevin Conroy.
Oh, okay.
Literally, though, like Tim Burton Batman films didn't fail because of any actor, or they're not looked upon like negatively because of any one actor. From my perspective, it was just too unrealistic just to be unrealistic.
Yeah.
And to put to take that concept and put it into animation, you automatically have this suspension of disbelief.
Mm-hmm.
You automatically have this allowance that you're giving because it's in animation. That's not what reality really looks like. And I think that really lent itself, or the Gotham that Tim Burton set up, and the idea that they were trying to go for adapting it and grafting it to animation really lent itself well for that.
Mm-hmm.
Because you automatically have that disconnection because it's animation. It's not going to look real. Especially then, because animation hadn't really gone further than, Agrabah in Aladdin.
Yeah.
So I love it. I love the aesthetic that they used, and in the drama sequences, because we were just talking about like the dichotomy between the drama and the action. The drama, the voice acting, 100% carried those drama sequences. Because you look at it, and yes, they have a very simple color palette. You've got Batman primarily, when he's Batman, not Bruce Wayne, in the shadows with the cloak, and all you can really make out is his eyes other than his silhouette.
Yeah.
And it's 100% the voice acting. And that, 25 years later for me, I'm 33, don't judge me. 25 plus years later, like, that's what I remember. I remember his voice. I remember the silhouette. And I remember his voice over everything else.
I always remember it happened like every other episode where Batman would be talking to someone and they'd turn around and he was just gone and the curtain was just going whoosh, and the window was open. And like that always sticks. Anytime I see a window, I'm like, blink, look, blink, look.
Did those blinds just move?
Yeah. But to keep talking about Batman as the person for a little bit longer too. The thing I really liked with the show, that's something the movies didn't do a lot of, is it spent a lot of time as Bruce Wayne, showing that side of things as well. How he had to keep that up. How he had an actual life that existed outside of being Batman, and the ups and downs of that, of trying to keep hidden who he is while trying to be himself at the same time. And they did something that just hit me actually a few minutes ago. We were talking about it, is like a lot of children's shows, air quotes, now you have stuff for the kids, and the things for the parents is like adult humor, not like really dirty, but like jokes that like the kids are like, oh, animation, while the parents are like, hey, that's really funny. I watch a lot of shows with my kids right now, and some of them are just absolutely hilarious, and my kids don't get any of the jokes, and it's great. But like you were saying, the thing with this show is like, my dad was never really into any of this stuff, but he would sit down and watch with us because, like you were saying, the political intrigue or some of the drama stuff and some of those tones was like stuff that he connected with as an adult, while we were just like, oh, Batman, he's so cool. And to have all the Bruce Wayne stuff for the adults that want to watch, and the love interests and all that going on, it was brilliantly written all around, like you've been saying. It's just, yeah, fantastic.
I really admire how well they did in that era of television altogether. I think for kids, whether it be Cartoon Network or the Disney Channel, mostly Cartoon Network at that point, I think, for animation, they did a good job of making it so it wasn't like it is now, where there's the things that the kids latch onto and there's the things the adults latch onto that just go over the kid's head. Not to say that's bad or negative or lacking in anything, but back then, I think, especially this series, did a brilliant job of telling a story that the child could appreciate the same moment the adult did, mm-hmm. from a different level, because their life experience is so dramatically different. So it's not that the child is responding to one moment and the adult is responding to a different. It's that they were both responding to the same thing, and it scaled based on where you were in life and what you knew about how the world worked. And I really think that that's something that has drifted away in modern children's cartoons or in comic book oriented cartoons, where it's much more split. Like the kids, this is slapstick for the kids, and this is adult humor for the adults.
Yep.
So.
Oh yeah. Teen Titans Go, like.
Yeah.
100%. That The Teen Titans show was awesome. Teen Titans. It's funny. It's very funny, but there's never a wow, what a really cool in-depth learning moment like he used to have.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right, like the Cartoon Network shows like this one, like the Batman the Animated Series, gave moments for the children and the parents to talk at the end of the episode. Like after, it was like the Full House where they all sit down with the girls at the end and they talk about what happened. It's the same thing. Like you could sit down with your parents, because I was a kid at the time, and talk about what you just saw. Like, wait a minute, who was the bad guy there? Because in some moments, Batman was the bad guy.
Oh, yeah.
Bad guy. Because that's the gray area vigilante style that Batman had in that era, and I adore that. And in some moments, it wasn't Batman who was the bad guy. But wait, why is he allowed to do that? Aren't the police there to do something? Like, it was, just...
Oh yeah, like I said, I just started rewatching it, and I have seen moments that I didn't remember the whole episode, but I remembered that moment. It was like, wow, I didn't catch this before when I watched it, or hit different than it did before. It's just, it's magic. It's insane how much it hits differently.
Yeah. Oh, I 100% agree. I've watched, like I said, I have the whole box set. I just sit down and just watch them all again. But every once in a while, I'm like, I'll specifically look up an episode that just pops in my head, and yeah, you're absolutely right, man. There's stuff that I'll rewatch and I'm like, I really liked this scene as a kid, but I really like it for a completely different reason now. Yeah. Yeah. 100%. Absolutely.
One of the biggest episodes I ever remembered was Joker's Favor, where the balding guy gets pissed on the highway and he cusses out Joker, and he holds onto his ID for years. And I just remembered that was a really dark episode. I just watched it last night, and I was like, holy shit, I would be terrified. Like, I saw it more from his perspective of, he runs to Ohio because, that's where no one goes. So that's where most places hide you, is in Ohio, where I live. Anyway.
Good place to hide.
From a whole different perspective, is one, Ohio is witness protection territory. But also, like, I would do the same damn thing in that situation. I would try to hide my family away and completely change my life to get away from this guy, because you have that constant torment of where is this, what's going to happen?
Oh, yeah.
Let alone, he was the hero of the episode for standing up to the Joker and like signaling Batman. It's just a whole different thing where I was like, of course. You're going to get balls and you're going to do the right thing and you're going to signal Batman. Heck with the Joker. That's not a big deal. Completely different watching it last night.
I'm going to have to rewatch that one. I do remember that episode. I need to rewatch that. Okay, so real quick, we're going to go ahead. Russell is finally here. We're going to add him, and he has a lot he wants to talk about that exact episode, apparently. So I'll let him go nuts while I'm fixing the stream. So, Russell, get in here.
I shit eater.
Get in here and talk. All right, come on,
you
Russ.
effervescent fool, you.
Waiting for it.
I'm here.
There you go.
Yeah.
Hey, and you're wearing your shirt. Hey, he shirt, she shirt. We all got it.
He shirt, she shirt.
All right, Russ, go.
Okay, so you guys were talking about Joker's Favor, and it's funny because I just watched that one last night too.
Oh.
And because I only got through the first season. I forgot how much there was. Like, I started watching a couple of days ago and just binge watching it. And I mean, it was a lot. But Joker's Favor is a really great episode because I love how at the beginning, like you said, I mean, this guy, he hates his life. Like, because the beginning of the episode is him driving down the road and being like, man, my life sucks. And then he's talking about how his wife's cooking meatloaf that night. And then he's not super excited about it. And he's like, man, I'm getting crapped on, as the cops like fly by him. And then the Batmobile, and then this car gets out and cuts him off, and he finds out it's the Joker. And you're right, Phoenix. That moment where, because it really, you guys were talking about how it had a lot. It was layered tones of adult and kid, and then you just have these dropped lines like Joker's like, "Yeah, you're my favorite toy. Of course, I know where you are." Because he's moved, and when he first answers the phone, he's like, "Yeah, this is Dawn," and he's like, "No, it's not. I know exactly who this is, and I know that you have your kids and everybody with you." And it was like watching it as an adult, because as a kid you're like, "Oh, whatever," but as an adult you're like,
That's terrifying.
That's terrifying, because he's laying these undertones of threat, and but by this time this guy has changed so much that he's like, screw that, I'm gonna give myself some balls, basically. And it's like, I'm gonna do what I need to do, like you said, where he signals Batman by flying this kind of hand glider against the window. I do love, there are some jumps in logic in some of the episodes in Batman where I'm like, that doesn't quite make sense, because he just sees something floating against the glass and Alfred's like, "Yeah, I think you're needed inside," and he's like, "Oh yeah, bat signal, that's definitely me. Who else could this be for?"
But again, you didn't catch that as a kid, but now as an adult, it's like, what?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah, we're gonna go with that.
Yeah.
Well, there it goes directly to the fact that like it's a kids show, but it also provides food, or I guess like narrative nourishment for the adults that are watching it along with their kids, or the adults that are going back and watching it later in life.
Yeah. Wheel of morality.
Well, and have you guys
tell us the lesson that we have learned. Yeah.
Yes.
I've had Animaniacs stuck in my head the whole time. I didn't want to distract too much.
Oh, sorry.
But yeah.
Sorry. I can't believe you forgot Kevin Conroy. Crazy. He's shirt season.
Oh my god.
Cream on my chest.
And have you guys talked about the Two-Face episode yet?
No. We've been basically
focusing on Kevin Conroy.
Yeah. We've been doing an overarch, like what the show meant to us, and then basically we've leaned heavily into Kevin Conroy's Batman before we scurry forward.
That voice, Russell. If you haven't heard me talk about that voice, if I remember two things about that Batman show as a child, it is the silhouette,
Kevin Conroy,
and that voice.
Oh yeah.
That voice.
Well, and that when I think of Batman, that's the voice that I hear.
Yeah, 100%.
I'm sure you guys have said that already.
Square jaw.
And not only that, so Kevin Conroy and then Mark Hamill as the Joker.
All right, let's do it.
Because have you guys not talked about that yet?
No,
we didn't go that deep. We were waiting for you, my sweet.
We were waiting for you.
Oh, okay.
We were just talking Kevin Conroy before we went there. If you're ready, we can jump.
So, I'm sorry. No, go ahead.
No, are you? No,
I'm jumping in the middle here, and I'm throwing you guys for a loop.
No, if you're ready to jump into Mark, let's jump into Mark. I'm ready.
So, I mean, Mark Hamill, who everybody associates with Luke Skywalker, is a fantastic voice actor, and I didn't know for the longest time. I actually didn't know a game came out called Darksiders. Yeah. Where Mark Hamill was playing this kind of spirit, and they were talking about how he voiced the Joker, and the voice was kind of similar. And I was like, wait. Mark Hamill, Luke Skywalker, voices Joker in the animated series. And that is, when I think of Joker, that's the voice that I think of, as many people do, because they had Kevin Conroy and Mark Hamill in Arkham Knight, Arkham Asylum, Arkham Knight, Arkham City. Mm-hmm. I don't think they had that. They weren't in Batman Arkham Origins, but they were in the other three, I believe, because they had a different voice actor for the Joker, at least. In Arkham
Troy Origins. Baker took over Joker. I think it might have been Origins.
Yeah, but I remember the controversy around that. But Russell, would you believe it if I told you that back when George Lucas was filming Star Wars: The Empire Strikes Back, Mark Hamill lobbied to be the voice for Yoda?
I did not know that.
That's a thing. He wanted to try. He wanted to do it. He actually auditioned for the role, and they gave it to Mark Oz Mark Oz.
Frank.
Yep.
Frank Oz. Oh my God, Frank Oz. Yes,
Yeah.
thank you.
Kevin
Sorry,
Conroy.
Mark Hamill, Frank Oz, Kevin Conroy.
He shirt. Yep.
Cream
They
on my
gave it to Frank Oz because he was, the primary puppeteer for Yoda.
I don't think I can imagine Mark Hamill doing Yoda, just because Frank Oz did it so well.
It's the same thing. It gets locked in your head in that way.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly. But there's a few Comic-Con panels where people are like, "Oh, what do you?" And I'll have to see if I can find them on YouTube and like throw them into Discord or something, where they ask like, "Oh, can you do a Yoda for us?" And it's scary how similar he sounds to Frank Oz's Yoda.
Well, the thing with Mark Hamill is his voice is, when he's Luke, he's very, like, I guess, in the original series, Luke, is, kind of middle of the bar. And in the newer movies, it's a very low voice. And then his Joker is like just woof, just a whole octave higher. And everything he voices, if you don't know it's him beforehand, you'll have that same thing rustle at you. Like, wait, that was Mark Hamill? Because it's just
it takes very
talented.
specific tones to pull it out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the thing I liked with his voice,
well, and the laugh.
Yeah. Oh, the laugh.
Yes.
Absolutely. But the funny thing is so they offered to have a driver for him to take him when they were doing recordings, and he purposely wanted to drive so he could, because obviously that's a lot of warm up to do that voice. And so he'd purposely drive himself so he could get in traffic, angered other people while practicing the Joker voice and threatening everyone around him. So he was in character and ready to go when he got to the studio. And I'm like, God, it's so perfect. But yeah, no, dude, that laugh is terrifyingly beautiful. Like it's contagious.
Boils your blood
in a scary way. Yeah.
Well, it has that hint of insanity too, because of the hoarseness, right, that comes from it. Because it's a very high pitched hoarse laugh. You can feel the insanity in it, just in the way it erupts from Joker, and they wrote it beautifully too, because it would erupt at these kind of weird moments. And the slang that he uses in Joker, like he never calls anybody by their full name. Have you noticed that when you're watching the show?
Oh yeah.
He always calls them by a nickname. Bats, Chaz when he's talking to Charles, the guy from Joker's Favor. I believe the only person he actually refers to by their full name is Harley.
I think you're right. Yeah.
Which is,
but that's not even her real name. That's just the name she's adopted.
Right.
That's true. So he does call her a nickname, and that may have even been where Harley Quinn came from, because Harleen Quinzel.
Fun fact, Batman's not actually Bruce Wayne's actual name either.
Oh.
Okay, well, yeah. Well, I mean,
Don't be.
I thought there was maybe very few instances where he did say someone's full name and that gave extra gravity.
Right.
It's like when you call your kid by their first and middle name.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, you're fucked.
Right.
Well, because again, he would... There was the insane Joker voice, but like when you were saying, when he'd say someone's full name, it was almost like a normal speaking voice, which made it even more terrifying. He had such a way of like regular conversation was still terrifying, and then we need to be absolutely insane. He could be absolutely shit insane. Batman,
well, and then the
Kevin Conroy.
The flips in the moods just by the voice were so good, because he would go from lighthearted, the clown prince of crime, to I'm going to straight up murder you.
Yeah. Or he could immediately just drop in and he just like he was the first character I ever saw face palm and just be like, oh boy, and just like really ride that out,
I do have to say, as far as like his maniacal laughter goes, like psychologically speaking, there were a lot of moments where Joker laughs hysterically, where that's actually a normal response. Like for experiencing trauma, laughing hysterically, normal response. You don't see that recognized in media.
Yeah.
Traumatic, like sorrowful event, you laugh, or your reaction is to smile because your body. And I've done this. Like, I've given bad news to someone, and I was smiling when I gave it, and I'm like,
it's a really
I
hard
don't know.
thing to not do for
Yeah.
me.
I don't know what to do with my body right now. Like, it's this is beyond my control. But it's like Joker. I feel like to some degree as a child, looking back on it, and I'm someone, I struggle with mental illness. I struggle with general anxiety disorder and depression. Having that blueprint of this, granted he was a villain, but in these dramatic moments, these big like crescendo moments, like he laughed hysterically. In some odd way, it helped make me feel like in those moments where that was my gut reaction, even though like society and like emotional intelligence tells me that's not supposed to be what I'm doing right now. Like, it helped me not feel like I was an alien from another planet.
Right.
Yeah.
It gave you the, yes, it can reach this, but you're not alone when you act outside of what everyone says is okay. Other people do this.
Right. And it almost makes me wonder, like, if we were to go back and psychoanalyze the Joker from the 90s Batman the Animated Series, like, what mental illness was that dude suffering from? Like,
oh yeah, there was a whole like documentary of in a world with a actual Batman, it is 100% plausible that criminals would reach the level of his Rogue's Gambit to match him. Like, they were all actually psychologically feasible in that kind of world. They all had different mental disorders or whatever. Maybe not disorders, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Like, they were actual. Yeah, it was deemed plausible, at least in that day.
Yeah. No, and that totally makes sense. Absolutely.
I think there's something to be said. I've always praised like DC for the quality of its villains and Marvel for the quality of its heroes. Because I don't think that they reach the same gravitas flipped. But I think DC's villains, if you were to look at them, they kind of span this remarkable spectrum of psyche.
Mm-hmm.
And if you wanted to get really into it and really drill down, like they span this remarkable spectrum of mental state or mental disorder. Whereas you look at Marvel heroes, and this isn't what the episode's about, but they also span this unique range of mental states. But that's something I've always loved about DC villains, and the Batman episode surrounding Clayface.
One of my favorites.
Yes.
Because he kept. He didn't just have one arc. Like unless I'm remembering incorrectly, he kept popping up.
Oh yeah, and it kept getting more and more of his story.
Exactly, and like from being this horrific villain when he was first introduced, eventually you kind of understand where he's coming from.
Well, that happened. So his episode was a 2-part episode.
Yep.
And they did a great job in the series of humanizing the villains, right? Mm-hmm. Because they always did have, you guys were talking about this earlier. They had that moment of, man, I mean, you kind of feel bad for them. Like, even so, Clayface, he has this wonderful scene. Again, great voice acting, just all through this series. And I was watching it. I had it on Amazon, so I was actually seeing some of the actors as I would pause it at specific moments. And like some of them are like relatively big name actors. Like Joker's favor, that's Ed Bigley Jr. or Ed
Bigley.
Yes, Ed Bigley Jr. And so Clayface, though, I mean, like, he has this redeeming quality because the first time you actually see his face, it's this scarred, misshapen monstrosity.
Oh yeah.
And they never really identify. They're like, he had an accident. And you don't really know what that accident is. All you know is the aftermath and how he got hooked on this thing that allowed him to basically live his life as he had. And then he's slowly getting drawn into this criminal world because all he wants to do is live his life.
Yeah, because they still put it in a way that even though you didn't see him before the accident, you felt that this is a scarred person that we finally see his face, and you immediately, like, as soon as I say after the accident, you're like, oh shit, this guy's been through a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And as an actor where, you know, your looks and are put above everything else, you immediately feel the trauma in such a short amount of time.
Mm-hmm.
And then they can move on. And yeah, like you said, they kind of, in however the hell they did it, you still feel bad for him.
Oh,
like in the second episode during his death scene, spoilers.
Oh man, I love
you feel bad for this guy.
Oh yeah.
Like it's like he literally sounds like he's going through a mental break, and you see every year before the accident, or I think like
you see some of his acting,
post accident, and it's like it was emotional as hell. And that was another. I didn't see that. I saw a guy going nuts and cuckoo crazy as a kid, but as an adult, I was like, what the? Where would I be if I went through that shit?
Exactly, because you go, I could be that guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
and that's another perfect example of the duality of their storytelling, because it's not, you know, slapstick for kids and adult humor for adults. It's you're both experiencing the same exact moment, the same exact lines of dialogue, and you're interpreting it differently based on your life, and where you are in your life story. And I have to say, like, you say Batman, and everyone's immediate villain is the Joker. And then you go down the list, and okay, maybe Poison Ivy and Mr. Freeze and whatever. For me, like, I have Batman, the Joker, and Clayface, just because that episode arc was so impactful for me. I don't remember all the details. I'll be honest. I don't remember all of them, but all I remember is Clayface, and I remember that story, and I remember the resolution. And that sticks with me.
Like, oh, yeah.
Well, and then, so you talked about the resolution, but then they flip it on its head, right? Because, I mean, the show's been out for 30 years, so...
Spoiler alert.
I'm not too worried about spoilers. They flip it on its head because then you set up that Batman's like, yeah, he must have had this plan the whole time. And then you see his best friend looking at a hospital and is like, see you later, or... you know, I'll see you again, or something like that. And you see this woman who just starts laughing maniacally, and it's like, was he faking this whole, like, even the redemptive qualities of his character? Because to do that and then to laugh maniacally because you've gotten away with it, wow, messed up. But it kind of flips it. It makes you go, was he really as redeemable as we originally thought? Because he was acting that scene in his death scene where he's dying and he's like, I don't want to die, you know, turn it off. This is too much. Craziness.
Oh, yeah. Well, and something, you know, Nick, you talked about with the, how they write their villains and then, you know, Marvel with their heroes and stuff. And like, you know, there's a lot of these superhero shows, you know, especially like, you know, X-Men or, you know, I'm still going DC here, but, you know, or with my next one, sorry, Superman, my brain's moving 100 miles an hour. Like with Superman, you know, all the villains, I mean, you had, you know, Lex, but, you know, a lot of the people he's fighting are also, the, you know, big, you know, they got powers, and it's this big head-to-head thing, which is cool. But the thing that really stuck with me with Batman is, one, obviously Batman's just a dude who's somehow trained himself to be that. But basically every villain he encounters was at some point just a person, you know, like one of the people that so you guys had, you know, you say Batman, you think Joker, Clayface, Joker, whoever. For me, it was Joker and then Two-Face, voiced by the wonderful Richard Mole. And Two-Face was my favorite. Like, I loved Batman, but anytime Two-Face is on screen, I love
that story.
That's my guy. That's my guy. He was my favorite character of that show. The look, the suit, the voice, the coin flip, the classic, like, he was the classic, like, Dick Tracy era villain guy, but to a whole nother tier. And all of those, yeah. I love you, Russ.
I love that you said Dick Tracy, because I'm sure we can talk about this later, but the pulp serial aspect of the show, that they tapped into, that Dick Tracy. Ooh, yeah. Okay, we need to 100%. Talk about that later, because we're. Yes.
Yeah. But the Two-Face.
Keep going. Two-Face.
Two-Face was my man. You're like, anytime he was trying to do anything, like, I was all about it. That voice was just, God, that was incredible. Like, I need to look up more. I'm going to look up more stuff he does. But yeah, dude.
Well,
Two-Face,
and I love that story arc, because, again, I prepared for this show. I haven't seen the Batman the Animated Series in a long time, so I was like, I'm going to watch as much as I can to kind of refresh my memory. That episode is still one of my favorites. So Clayface's episode, his two episode arc, great, but Two-Face's, and the reason is because that flip that the voice actor had, because, and I had forgotten this. There's Harvey Dent, who's, you know, the good guy, right? And then there's Big Bad Harv, which was his split personality that had started to manifest before he had his face scarred. And I love, because there's this moment, he's sitting across from a psychiatrist. Again, not something that you would see in a lot of kids shows, right? This psychiatry and the split personality kind of manifestation. And he's sitting there, and the lady hypnotizes him, and his voice changes, and he goes, "You're not talking to Harvey anymore." And she goes, "Oh, I must be talking to Big Bad Harv." And he starts throwing stuff out the window. And then even the animation of him just like hulking out, for the lack of a better term, where he just picks up guys and chucks them. Like, he doesn't really, like, he's not, you can tell from the animation, he's not a fighter like Batman is. He's just a brawler.
Oh,
he's just going to go in there and chuck people around.
Classic gangster guy. But the thing I dug the most with his look is, like, one, the equal split with the black and white and everything.
Love that.
But the fact they went with, like the other half is blue, and then the eye is a completely different size and color.
Yeah.
And the hair is good. Like, it's a smooth look to get to the face, but yeah, the choice to go with blue was gorgeous. And then the mouth, how it's just super split open on that one end. And it's just, brilliant.
They made him legitimately grotesque.
Yeah. And he's like, they did a great, because the whole point of Two is he was a very attractive dude. You know, he had life going, he was cruising, and to have, you know, like, what was the Batman movie, the newer one that had, they did Two-Face in it or whatever.
Oh,
with Harvey.
The Dark Knight.
The Dark Knight. Yeah. Like that was pretty good, but this was such but it was such a night and day different, like completely, like you just made two complete separate drawings and put them together, and it was just, it was gorgeous. But another thing that was interesting with Two-Face is he was constantly trying to get stuff done, but he got scared, like legitly scared a lot throughout the series, where a lot of Joker would get scared, you know, every once in a while with something going on, but like usually when an episode with Two-Face in it was ending and Batman was coming in and finishing stuff off, like you could see the Harvey side come in, and he was legitly terrified of what was going on, and it was just so brilliant to watch that keep coming around and around.
Well, yeah, that's what was so perfect about how they portrayed him. Like, one, when they started the show, if I remember correctly, from that behind the scenes or whatever, Two-Face was like blue and orange or something. So it was the opposite of what they were trying to do with the very dark undertones and everything else. And they decided, okay, we're going with mostly blacks and grays. Let's go with white and black to further push that duality of man, a post-PTSD, just like snap. They visually showed it. And then, like you said, once he went to more the Two-Face side, that voice was so different, but the same.
Mm-hmm.
You could feel the anger in it.
Oh, yeah.
It was deeper. It was gravelier. He was,
It was almost like someone pisses you off and you know that you should take half a second and think about what you're going to say. But he was like that moment where someone pisses you off and you just spout off and you're probably going to get punched, but you don't give a shit.
Mm-hmm.
It was kind of that sort of thing. Just like Two-Face was that guttural instant reaction. Here's everything I've been holding and bottling up. Just rah.
Yeah. Well, and then the whole, the coin flip decision to just mentally pull him like that.
Literally.
Not my fault. Coin talked. I'm not going to lose any sleep over murdering you. Coin made me do it. Like,
well, and
that's
such
a brilliant idea.
He makes a comment where he's just an arbiter of fate.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's doing the coin flip, and I love the introduction to Two-Face. Now the legit Two-Face, he's no longer Harvey and Big Bad Harv. He's now Two-Face. Where he comes in, he has the two twins that are his minions in the cartoon, right? And they come in, and he's flipping the coin because they pull up, and he goes, we'll decide by the flip of a coin to do it good or do it bad. Of course, it comes up the bad side. And then he goes along. And then again, at the end of the episode, you have Bruce Wayne flip the coin into the fountain that he grabbed from Two-Face, and it lands with the scarred side up. He's like, I wonder if he's going to get better, because at the end they kind of, he gets reconnected with his love interest, and, they're able to capture him, but it lands the bad face up because it's, obviously Two-Face is going to show up again.
Oh, yeah. A lot.
It's an interesting narrative for children to watch.
Mm-hmm.
Like if we look at this through the lens of like kids watching, because most of us were kids watching, whether we were children or teenagers in the 90s. The idea of, let's flip a coin and let fate decide. Like, well, no, there's a moral right and wrong. You can't just flip a coin. I know watching that as a kid was really interesting and troubling for me personally. What about you guys?
Oh,
I felt like that was half the. I'm sorry, I keep interrupting.
No. You need to talk.
We all do that
I
to each
felt
other.
like that was kind of half of the point of Two-Face, of why he was black and white. There wasn't a gray area where most of us have that. We pause and we think, well, now wait a minute, is that okay or not? He was very much that exact flip of the coin. One, he could not decide for himself because he was Harvey and he was Big Bad Harv. Together, they were Two-Face. But because he could not decide anything, he was strictly black or white, right or wrong. There was no gray. There was no middle ground, which is why he was so fixated on the coin.
Yeah.
Because he couldn't, it was two dogs fighting in his brain.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the only way to resolve it. That's what made him such a fantastic character. They did him so well, artfully and voice line. Just,
Yeah, dude.
Well, and then they have there's a later episode that happens, I think a couple of seasons in, where they address the fact that he's black or white. There's no gray area, and he really doesn't make his own decisions, right? And he kind of leaves it up to the coin flip.
Yeah,
this
which
is
lets him pull himself
going to
away
be good, or this is going to be bad. But they introduce like another split psyche in an episode later on that's like the judge or something like that. And it's this part of Two-Face that he's been repressing that actually makes his own decisions.
Oh
And-
my god, yeah.
Yeah,
Was
and it was
Judgment
a
Day?
really good
Yeah.
episode. Yeah, and it was a really good episode because Batman is trying to figure out who it is, and then finally he realizes it's Two-Face, and he's like, "Oh, this is a repressed psyche that actually is able to make the decisions now."
I forgot all about that.
Was that brought on by the coin landed on its side or something? Or am I just
I-
remembering things wrong?
I don't remember that much. Now, this was not an episode I saw recently. This was an episode I saw bits and pieces of a long time ago, but I thought it was such an interesting idea that it stuck
Oh, yeah.
in my head.
Well, and then that whole, like, it was very Batman-esque because it was just a black robe with the white judge wig and his hands showing, and that was it.
Yes. Yes.
Terrifying.
And then
I
I think they make mention at the end of the episode of, like, are there other repressed psyches that are in his mind? Or
Fudd, this may not come to surprise to you, but there was a point where I did something uncharacteristic, and my older brother Matt was like, "Is that a repressed psyche?" we're kids, okay? We're kids. Is this a repressed psyche? Yeah. Yep. Okay, so I have to ask though.
Go ahead.
Because we've talked about Clayface, Joker, Two-Face. Can we talk about John Glover's Riddler?
Oh, yeah. Take us away.
The Riddler, to me, has not been done justice in live-action film to this date. Jim Carrey's Riddler, I get the idea.
Nah, it was amazing. It was incredible.
Phoenix, are you saying I'm wrong?
No, I'm sorry. Jim Carrey's Riddler. Well, okay, maybe I might have reacted too quick. Jim Carrey's Riddler was just stupid. It
Yes.
was ridiculous.
Thank you.
Tommy Lee Jones played the Joker in Two-Face makeup.
Yes.
I hate that movie.
Jim
because
Carrey
of that.
played
Movie's a
a
work of art.
dichotomy
It's
of
brilliant.
The Riddler is a fucking genius.
Yes. Thank you. He's playing. He's a strategetic genius.
Did you watch
Playing-
Gotham though?
No.
I was
I
about to say that one's a pretty good
love the way he played Riddler. It's brilliant. It's dare I say better than the cartoon. Brilliant, perfect for Riddler. That's the main reason why I started to react that way. He's always been done awful.
Batman.
Outside of the cartoon or that show.
Crime Against Humanity. Like it was Cat in the Hat with Mike Myers level Crime Against Humanity.
I've
And
often
I think it was
said
loss of context.
that Batman Forever is the Shawshank Redemption of our generation.
Never seen that movie, so I don't know what you mean, but I assume you're being an asshole.
No, it's
in my
Schindler's
opinion,
It's a great movie.
List. Same tier.
in my opinion, Batman and Robin is better.
You know,
Bat nipples? A bat credit card?
I'm kidding.
Hold on,
I am
hold on.
being sarcastic.
you know what good came out of Batman and Robin?
Bat nipples?
In the behind the scenes. This is personal for me. In the behind the scenes.
Uma Thurman did play
Hold
a
on,
good
hold
Poison
on.
Ivy.
In the
I will
behind
give
the scenes
that.
for Batman and Robin, Chris O'Donnell versus George Clooney. The costume department had to create a bigger bulge for Chris O'Donnell.
Mm-hmm.
Just saying.
That's because he did a better job than George Clooney.
That's correct. The rest
That's
of the
when I started hating George
the
Clooney.
rest of the movie is complete garbage.
Yeah.
So anyway,
But no,
the Riddler.
okay, so the Riddler, yes.
Kevin
the Riddler
Conroy.
in the animated show,
Sure she
voiced by John Glover, like he
Cream
was a cool, calculated, criminally intelligent individual that was literally like playing Batman and Robin and anyone else involved in whatever scheme present. And I love the Riddler. 'Cause he wasn't just like a 1 or 2 episode villain. He was consistent. Every episode he was in, he played everyone like a marionette.
Oh yeah.
And it was beautiful because at the end they might win. I hate these movies, but it reminds me of the Saw movies where the protagonists get out of whatever they're stuck in and then they find out the game's not over or they were just like leading into the next room. It's like being in an escape room.
Oh yeah.
You figure out the first room, huzzah! You unlock the door expecting to get out, and it's just the second room. And you're like, oh shit, this is more than one room. I feel like that's the presence the Riddler had in the animated show.
Mm-hmm. Well, the thing
And
I liked...
always... Go ahead.
No, the thing, you see, just absolutely brilliant, like legitly a brilliant person. But the thing I liked the most with how they wrote that character being that way is he knew it. And it wasn't just how he played everyone, it was how he presented himself, how he walked, how he talked. Just nonchalant, like would walk in the middle of the worst place you'd want to be. And I own everything here right now. Nothing's a problem. Charlie Chaplin, cane spin. Beautiful.
He even had like an alter ego. What was it? Like Enigma. Edward Nigma. Yes, he had like
that was his original persona.
Yeah.
So his real name was Edward Nigma.
Shame on you, DC.
Well, but he did also kind of.
Come on, that is not even the worst. Harleen Quinzel. It was a thing that they did all the time.
But he still did also have like an alternate kind of thing. Yes, he was brilliant, but they also showed him in episodes where he didn't outsmart somebody because they're a meathead. He still kicked the shit out of them.
Yeah.
Like he flipped and suddenly he's just kicking everybody's ass, which gave more gravity to him.
You could also see like he had this very like specific idea of how events were going to unfold. And if they didn't unfold in that specific way, in the way he had predetermined, you could see there was this crack of madness in there.
Yeah, it was like a...
He is the ultimate OCD.
Right.
With maybe a bit of... my gosh.
I always feel like he was an autistic.
Narcissistic disorder.
Like
a bit autistic OCD.
Right.
Yeah, I couldn't think of the word. Yeah.
Like things stray out of how he wanted them to go, and he would lose his shit, and then that's when he would become volatile. Because in his controlled like pinball machine environment, stuff couldn't get crazy.
Because that was his coping mechanism.
Exactly. And then the second Batman or Robin or both of them would start to gain the upper hand or subvert this mechanism he had placed them into, he would just... It would be like, you ever play that Labyrinth game as a kid where you have the dials and you turn and the marble rolls around?
Oh, yeah.
He'd just like flip it. Like, we're done. Oh my God, the rules are gone. We're going to kick your ass now.
Like I said, the Minotaur episode.
Yeah.
Like,
yes.
Yes. Oh, so good.
That is how I know that the shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line. Not a curve.
Same.
Or a zigzag.
Yep. Same.
I remember that every time.
Something.
Every time. That's what I...
Because Alfred is a genius. And stop dumbass Robin from giving the wrong answer.
I love because every time for some reason that comes to mind, I see that image where they're looking at the 3 stone tablets and the little gold filigree, and they have to pick the door that's underneath. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I was thinking of because Robin plays some kind of game on the Bat computer, which seems ridiculous that he's playing a game.
It's earlier in that same episode.
But when they're actually in the labyrinth, it's the tablets with, and he remembers when Alfred's like, "No, you're a dumb fucking idiot. It's a straight line," and that's how. Yeah,
because the game was originally designed by Edward Nigma, and then I think they ousted him from it or fired him because his stuff was too complicated or something.
Yeah.
And then he makes a real life version of the game because he's like, I'm a genius. Look at this. I'm going to make a full-size labyrinth because that's what everybody does when they get fired.
They do. So I will say the new Batman movie called The Batman coming out with what's his name, Edward Cullen playing Batman The Riddler is supposed to be the villain.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Based on what I've been seeing on Reddit in the dark corners of the universe. It's a wretched hive of scum and villainy, but pay no attention. They've been leaking that this is like the cool, calculated, cerebral Riddler that we've all deserved and have not gotten.
That'd be awesome.
So I'm super excited.
I want that so
it's
much.
Not animated, but I'm super excited.
That I remember them saying something. I was looking at an interview or something, and they said Batman is outmatched at this point because he's still early on in his career.
Yes,
and he is outmatched by the Riddler.
It's supposedly going to launch a trilogy of movies, and the first movie ends with him losing, basically, which will give reason to want to see a second film.
Yeah,
exactly.
And they're skipping past the origin story, which has been.
We're not going to see his parents die again. Exactly.
Wait, what?
I really want it to be good because, like you said, Riddler's one of my favorite characters, and he's always been done wrong, and it pisses me off so bad. But also, the fact that Batman is the world's greatest detective has been done wrong for way too damn long. And that's why I wanted him to be put properly with a good Riddler that will challenge him and help him become the world's greatest detective.
That I feel like escape rooms have become like a societal norm.
Mm-hmm.
Like you talk to anyone, they've done an escape room, or they know someone who has done an escape room. I love escape rooms. There have been movies done about, like horror movies done about escape rooms at this point.
Claustrophobic.
And I have friends like that. Like one of my best friends, his name's Matt. He was on one of the JSG episodes eons ago. He can't do them because of the same. Like it's just too much stress. He knows it's fake. It's artificial. Too much stress.
Yeah.
And I get it. 100% respect it. But having that being such a cultural norm these days, I think lends credence to what they can do with the Riddler. Because you look at it, like especially like the Minotaur arc, that was an escape room, essentially.
Yeah.
Like all of the Riddler's main influences with Batman, or his main interferences, I guess is a better word, over Batman, have been escape room like scenarios.
Yeah.
And those aren't alien to people anymore. Like that's normal. You can just walk down the street and get locked in a room for an hour until you figure out how to get out.
How weird is that?
How Batman does can still show him as like brilliant.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I'm super stoked. I'm so stoked because the Riddler has always been, I think, my favorite Batman villain. I believe the bowler hat and cane. But
yeah, I think it's cool because like a lot of the villains have been brawn to brawn, and to have that villain that's straight up just like you said, world's greatest detective, brain to brain, you know. And yeah, a lot of Batman movies we get is just the I'm Batman, I can punch things, and I'm muscly, and yeah. You know, and yeah.
It's like Sherlock and Moriarty.
Yes.
Well, and you hit this earlier. I mean, Batman, when he was originally set up, it was very, I mean, Dick Tracy was a big thing.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Where you had these detectives that got in fights, but the big thing is that they were smart and they figured clues out. And that's something that's really captured in Batman the Animated Series is it's very much a pulp serial.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of just uprooted from the 50s and then placed in the 90s in an animated form.
Yep.
Because it usually left on a cliffhanger or those kinds of things that were done in the serials. But then, I mean, and this was kind of something that I liked as I was watching it through recently. Batman wasn't like he is now in the comics where he's able to beat everybody and he's just a master fighter. In the first season, he gets kicked around a good bit.
A lot.
Like it's very, yeah. And like he takes his punches and then he comes back. And there's a lot of that kind of speaks to me. And in the later seasons, you get a little bit more of his martial arts story as they start to introduce Ra's al Ghul and things like that. But especially that first season was very, very much a pulp serial, even in the aesthetic, which was very Dick Tracy-esque with, he's got this massive computer, but the computer, instead of a keyboard, has these huge, massive buttons that he's like having to reach. He's playing it like he's playing an organ. And I'm like, that's not a real thing.
Yeah.
But it looked cool. And I remember there's a moment where he's got like all these electrodes and everything, and he's like doing all these experiments, and I'm like, that's cool. I don't know what that has no basis in reality, but it was cool. Very much.
He could build a vector face when he was trying to figure out who Two-Face was. Or no. It was the goon that always wore the headphones with the police banner.
Yes.
Or police scanner. He built like a vector face, and it immediately checked the police records for faces that were close to that. Like, that's completely ridiculous. But Batman was so brilliant, he could build something that would work that way.
But you've got his beautiful voice to narrate it for you, so who cares?
Kevin Conroy.
First crush. Cream on my chest.
Have we talked about the Batmobile in the show yet?
No, I'd love to. Because it was incredible. That 400-foot long vehicle.
I was just going to say, the perspective of the camera.
Yeah.
Or was that the actual?
Batman doesn't parallel park.
This thing in the design of that car.
It made no sense. And there were a lot of cars in that show that are just like 20 feet long, and you're going.
I love the cars in that because it was classic ass cars, but with beyond that time's technology. It was such a beautiful mashup.
Oh yeah,
it really was.
It was very much that Dick Tracy era, because like you see that a lot in like the Dick Tracy comics where they have the old cars, but then he's got the walkie-talkie on his wrist, and
I gotta go, kid.
Yeah, I mean like. This technology that's out of place, and I love the way that they captured that with the architecture and
how everyone dressed,
because it was
civilians, everything. Yeah,
it was very 50s, and yet you have
technology
people with this weird technology.
Yeah, you have 50s
was really cool, like the guy who could turn in. Yes, everything was big and bulky. There was nothing that was slim or skinny or modern.
I think Gotham was in Texas.
I feel like a good like comparison to draw is what we saw with the film Sky Captain and the World of Tomorrow.
Yes.
Where it's like
visually, yes. I never saw it, but
watch it.
Yes.
That's an experience.
It is not anything like you imagine. It's based on like thumbnails or videos you might have seen, or cover art or anything.
Lens cap.
It doesn't hold up as well.
No. I mean, like the CG quality and the story. It's not necessarily that great, but I feel like this timeline aesthetic displacement is something that I draw a direct parallel to like Sky Captain and the World of Tomorrow or The Legend of Korra. If you ever watched that.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Where you're like in like a 50s era it's like steampunk, the same concept as steampunk, but you're just transposing it like a couple decades further.
Yeah, exactly.
And then rather than it being steam powered, it's technologically powered or electrical powered as far as like Batman is concerned, or what have you.
It had a very specific aesthetic.
Yeah.
But it also, as far as that movie not holding up, wasn't that all the background stuff done by one person over like 7 years?
Yes.
Oh, I basically, yeah.
So
yes. No,
it's a good movie.
It's a great
tomato testicle.
Yeah. Are we back to the gorilla testicle things again?
Tomato testicle, bowling ball. It's all the same.
All right, I think we have a couple characters we need to hit on, and then we'll probably need to start wrapping things up. It's getting late for everybody. But
I don't know, man. I don't know if I can.
yeah,
I don't know if
is
I
this
can
going
wrap
to
it
be
up.
Such a good show.
another 4
It
hours?
is.
I
This is
narrowed
just
it
got
down, but there's
started.
still
I know.
so much to talk
I
about.
know. Okay. One of the most important characters on the entire show held everything together, voiced by the incredible Ephraim Zimbalist Jr. He was born in 1918 voicing this show. It's crazy.
Wow.
Alfred Pennywise was like...
So that's
He
was born in 1918. The show was in the 1990s.
Yeah. So he was very old when he was doing Alfred.
Wow.
It's Pennyworth, not Pennywise.
You're right.
Pennywise is the clown.
You're right. Sorry. Kevin Conroy. That's the first thing I've gotten wrong tonight.
He sure.
Just
Just some Guardians.
But the thing, so obviously, Alfred holds everything together. He is a doctor for Batman. But the thing with Alfred is he has to hold together everything going on the Batman side while keeping everything on the Bruce side as well, but also doing more on the Bruce side to make it look like Bruce is existing outside. It's without Alfred,
Like this
nothing's
total
possible.
facade.
Yeah.
And the way they used him in the show was the comic relief. He always had these great one-liners, at least one per show.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's an April Fool's episode where he's like, "Master Bruce, I drew you a bat," and Bruce is like, "Oh yeah, that'd be great." And then he gives him a picture that's a drawn bat.
Yep.
Well, but that's also an homage to that's how Alfred started out. He was just a moron meathead comic relief. And then they decided if he's going to spend this much time with Bruce, he needs to be worth something. And they started developing him in war, and he became more of a mentor.
Mm-hmm.
And then they started the whole, backstory. He was part of MI6 or whatever, potentially.
And a bad, just a badass.
Alfred is an enigma in and of himself. But yeah, it was because it was paying homage to how he originally started as just a meathead moron comic relief character.
Yeah.
But people loved him so much in that role that they gave him more.
As a kid watching it, I have to say, I don't remember much about Alfred aside from those moments, because I really don't think he had them. Maybe I'm just space cadetting here, but I don't think he had more than walking into frame and giving a one-liner or a step ladder, stepping stone.
He had a lot of
later on
quippy one-liners.
Yeah.
But in the series as a whole, the biggest thing I remember is I want Alfred to be my grandpa.
Yeah, 100%. Well, the thing
I want him to be my butler. I don't know about my grandpa, but I'd love him to be my butler.
Well, the thing I loved most with Alfred's character is in a world where you've helped raise this kid, you're his butler, you're holding everything together. Okay, he wants to dress like a bat now and fight crime. Okay, he's fighting some chick that controls plants, and some crazy dude that laughs and wears purple, and some guy, Bane, everything going on. He takes all in stride, and it's just monotone, and nothing surprises him.
He became more than a father figure, the most dedicated father figure you could possibly think of.
Absolutely.
He's like a rallying point
/ maybe.
And this wasn't necessarily in the animated series, but in the comic books,
he was there.
Yeah, his evolution is the father figure that Bruce needed, because he lost his parents at such a young age. In the animated series, it's hinted at that Alfred has this very strong emotional connection to Bruce, even though Bruce, I feel like even in the comic books and in the animated series, he's like, "You're great, Alfred." But I don't think he really appreciates Alfred for the emotional context that he provides.
He's like a rebellious teen in a way.
Yeah. Well, I think he's so obsessed with the death of his parents that it's hard for him. I know I've had this experience where I'm so wrapped up in my grief that I can't see the people that are there providing support.
Yeah.
But it's nothing he ever gets over. Well, I take that back. Recently in the comic books, there was a moment where he was able to move past Joe Chill, which is cool, but that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about the animated series.
Chill is cool.
I could go off on a tangent about what's going on in the comic books right now because it's really cool, but
I'll go off on a tangent about the films because I think Alfred wasn't like the true character of Alfred. We all love Michael Caine. Michael Caine is great. He's great, but I think Alfred as a character wasn't truly nailed until Jeremy Irons did him in the Batfleck movies, where he was a sarcastic ass, but he was emotional support for Batman. He had the one-liners, he had the technical know-how, and he seemed annoyed. Like, okay, Bruce, you're like 49, and I am still fixing your fucking suit.
Yeah.
Now,
Like-
see, I don't know that adaptation. Just I haven't. I watched Justice League because every Friday we do a family movie night. My daughter wanted to watch Harley. I'm like, okay, let's watch the Justice League movie. But I haven't watched Batman v Superman because I hate Ben Affleck. Hate him. Hate.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Me too.
Yeah,
too.
I'm with you.
I hate him.
No. But I kind of want to watch it now to see that side of Alfred. But I will give another point towards the Gotham series. I love Alfred in the Gotham
he
series.
does a great job.
Love him.
I need to watch that. I've heard that a lot.
I'm gonna
Because
have to watch
he does kind of all the different aspects that we've seen of him all rolled into one.
Now, flash forward that 20 years, and that's the idea that Jeremy Irons' Alfred gives you. Like,
Okay, and I would
why
watch it
am I
just
still
for that.
changing your diapers? Like, you are almost 50 years old, and he does it. He doesn't. It's his job. Like, he's beautiful, like wonderful actor, and he communicates all of that physically, vocally, all of it seamlessly. I hate Ben Affleck. I don't like Ben Affleck. I haven't liked Ben Affleck since I saw Armageddon as a teenager, and he was like loving on Liv Tyler, and I'm like, you're dumb. Who would tuck animal crackers in chicks' shorts? This is dumb. Like,
I gotta say,
what am I?
my favorite role of Jeremy Irons is the Dungeons and Dragons movie. He just did
Haven't seen it.
such.
seen it?
I'm kidding. I mean, he's a
Oh,
great
fuck you
actor.
then.
The Dungeons and Dragons movie is the worst train wreck of
Is it worse than the Mortal Kombat movie?
Well, that
Which one?
is gorgeous.
the Mortal Kombat movie is cheesy but still good in a
It's a
weird
classic.
way.
Yeah, it's so cheesy, it's classic.
Dungeons and Dragons was just hot garbage.
The Street
on
Fighter
more
movie.
hot garbage with a sidekick who makes you want to shoot yourself in the head. And
That was
Jeremy
all shit on
Irons,
their chest.
there's like an outtake where Jeremy Irons is like reading from the script and he's like, "This is bull crap." Like he's like, there's like an outtake like in between the scenes,
awesome.
and he is flipping out because this is the worst piece of garbage he has ever had to do.
However, as far as worst pieces of garbage go, I recommend Batman vs. Superman, the director's cut. I am a Marvel fan. I'll tell you right now, like Iron Man is my favorite superhero in the history of the universe. But I highly recommend the Batman vs. Superman director's cut. Don't subject yourself to anything other than the director's cut because it's hot garbage. As far as Justice League goes, give it another month or two and we'll have the Snyder cut of
Yes.
Look,
I
I am not getting HBO Max just
you
because
can log into mine. You can log into
But
mine.
it's my
No,
cut
no,
of
no.
the movie. I
The
did
idea-
so much work. All right?
So
you will respect
Snyder-
that.
This is like cut out segment here. Zack Snyder left the project because DC was like, "You're not like Marvel movies. This isn't gonna work." Obviously, you're not like Marvel movies because this is a DC movie, you dumb shits. So he left, and they brought in Joss Whedon, who did Avengers and Avengers Age of Ultron. And when you're watching, you've seen Justice League. You can almost tell
Oh yeah.
someone else directed this. Like, what the heck? Like, it goes from this, as far as tone goes, which is like what we got to know with Man of Steel and Batman versus Superman. It goes from this to this to this, and you're like, what is happening right now?
Worst piece. I hate the one-liners that they give Batman. Give him to Flash.
Yes.
Those one-liners would have been great for Flash. Don't give
Yes.
Batman these stupid, quippy one-liners.
Especially,
That's because that's
It
Flash.
wasn't in his character in anything.
especially
Okay.
after the character they established in Batman versus Superman. Like, the Batfleck, for me, is the best. I will die on this sword until something better comes around. The Batfleck Batman that we see, and I don't know how I came up with Batfleck, but I'm living for it.
Oh, I've heard it a lot.
Oh, well, then I give credit to whoever originated it, but I will still die on that sword.
It's been a thing for a long time.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Batfleck
I wrote it.
is the best live-action Batman on film, period. When it comes to the action, you just watch the action in Batman versus Superman. There's some sequences in there where you get the brutality of Batman delivering vigilante justice that we've all deserved for decades that we haven't gotten on screen. It is amazing. But
Now, see, I will give it to Batfleck for Bruce Wayne. Wonderful Bruce Wayne, in my opinion.
yeah,
I liked his aesthetic as
But
Batman.
I
too.
prefer Christian Bale minus the blah, 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 blah. Take that out. His violence and his, I don't know, like his action. I prefer his action, but again, I have not seen Batman v Superman
check out BVS.
just because I didn't realize it was the Batman. What's the old one when the Dark Knight Rises or whatever, the Darkest Night, right? Whatever. When he's like 50 or 60.
Yeah.
Yes.
I didn't know anything about that before I saw the trailer of "Do you bleed? You will." Fuck you. Batman doesn't kill.
Awful.
Although in the cartoon he throws razor sharp batarangs at people. He's very violent.
Definitely.
Didn't click till after the fact.
There was an interesting thing too, like a lot of cartoons they shied away from violence. In Batman the Animated Series, they didn't. I mean, like you saw the punches land.
You knew the
There was a lot
violence
of
was
action.
there,
Mhm.
but you
Because-
didn't actually see blood fly from anyone. You didn't see anyone actually die, but you
Yeah.
knew it happened.
Well, and that
well,
they
and you
kept
saw
that in-
people get hit. Because because cartoons at the time they would have a cloud or they would have a pow or they would move away from it. Here you actually, I mean, you saw fists connecting with people. It was interesting. It's an interesting thing. It's
Yeah,
not
especially
like
for the time.
but they didn't shy away from it. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, the
Right.
end action sequence for Batman in BVS, in the director's cut. I can't stress this enough. Don't watch anything but the director's cut. Is the first time I've ever like looked at like the live action Batman, and I've been like afraid. The same way Batman made me afraid in the 90s animated show when I was a kid watching it. Like, he just comes out of the shadows, he comes through the wall, he beats you down. You don't see blood splattering, you don't see dismemberment or anything like that. You don't see him actively killing people, but I mean, he is taking these guys out.
Oh yeah.
No, just burning the bat symbol into their bodies and leaving
Just-
them.
Well,
Yeah.
they still had that in the special episode where it was like Firefly was burning down a theater or something, and there was 3 kids telling a different side of the same story, but you got the old like mercenary Batman with a girl Robin. That was what they were doing with the Batman v Superman. Was old Batman like, fuck this shit, I'm out.
Yep. He's at the end. He's at the whole idea of the movie is that there's this Superman dude, and it's terribly scripted, but his his idea stands. Like, okay, this is this great all-powerful dude. If there's just a fraction, and he says, if there's a 1% chance in the movie, and I want to slap him because I'm like, that's terrible writing. Like, whoever wrote that should die. If there's a fraction of a chance, like it should have been a fraction, not a 1%, but a fraction of a chance that this dude will turn on us, something's got to be done about it.
But that's Batman's personality, because they've revealed so many times, anytime he's in the Justice League, he has a contingency plan to kill everyone in the Justice League if they ever go bad.
I just think in the film script writing, they shouldn't have said if there's a 1%. They should have just said if there's a fraction.
Yeah, it's a little too strong.
It sounds weird.
Yeah.
He's ready to drop whoever might go too far.
Yeah,
and
which reminds me of Batman the Animated Series. Yeah,
and that kicks into the whole story arc.
It's such a good show.
So before, because I know we're getting close to ending, and there was a really cool thing that came from Batman the Animated Series that was the Phantasm.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
Yes.
Oh my god, I
The
forgot
movie.
about that.
That
Mask of
was
the Phantasm.
Mask
I saw
of the
that in
Phantasm.
theaters, and I almost shit myself watching that because it was almost like a horror thriller, and it ends up being this dramatic, like vengeance revenge story with a beautiful, not quite redemption arc, but a huge lesson.
I don't know if it's
for
still
kids
there.
watching it. I will never forget walking out of the theater.
It was on Netflix like 6 months ago. Is it still there? Okay. Because the second I heard it was on Netflix, I sat down and watched that, and I was like, "Oh dear God."
Yeah,
But see, that further proves the point that DC, bad at live action, amazing with animated films. Marvel is the exact opposite. They're terrible with animated films, amazing at live action. But the biggest thing, and I love Mask of the Phantasm, the biggest thing I remember, we had a buddy over years and years ago. We're talking 20 years ago now, at least. We're watching that movie, and this guy starts cracking up. Like he's about to split in half because the Joker grabbed a big chunk of bologna and started beating somebody with it.
Yeah.
And he's like, he's beating him with his meat. That's so messed up but hilarious. That's all I can think of when I hear Mask of the Phantasm is Joker beating someone with his meat.
it's a big thing of baloney, and
It's a big old cock of bologna.
And I remember the scene that I remember the most is the old guy. There's the really old mob boss that has the oxygen.
The oxygen in the car.
And Batman comes up to him and takes it off, and he's got that wicked grin on his face. Because in Batman the Animated Series, the darkness that was hinted at in the cartoon that was for cable television, they just embraced it wholeheartedly in the cartoon. They didn't shy away from the blood. They didn't shy away from anything. It was brutal and so good. Like the moment where I think was it Rupert Thorne who ends up like climbing into his own grave, and is like terrified as the Phantasm comes up, and like the ghost of Christmas past.
Yes,
because it takes place around Christmas, and that whole scene is like almost ripped straight from a Christmas Story. No, that's not what it's called. Christmas Carol. Where you have the ghost of Christmas past show up, and it's this figure of death, and it has that claw hook thing on its hand. Oh, such good character design on Mask of the Phantasm.
Trailers for Mask of the Phantasm, because I remember seeing them in theaters. Even the trailers for that were terrifying.
And it was slightly Scooby-Doo-esque, though.
To a degree. Like, once you get to the end, when you're, like, resolving everything.
Right.
Mr. Finnegan.
It's a red herring. Rips the skin off his skull. No, the trailers, I convinced my dad, and my dad didn't do kids anything, just anything. I convinced our dad to take us to Mask of the Phantasm in theaters based on the trailer. I'm like, what? It was before Three Ninjas. Our VHS of the Three Ninjas had aged so well, and that is another conversation for another time. But I convinced him to take us to Mask of the Phantasm based on the trailer before the Three Ninjas. And he walked out of it and was like, that was crazy. And again, that goes to the duality of the storytelling for that era. Kids get a completely different thing with parents from the same content.
Well,
but
okay, so I feel like there's so much we want to talk about. There's one major character I think we need to talk about, and then we'll probably end up talking about someone else too. But this character, especially from this version of this character, started like an entire generation of, I don't know, a certain style of person, like cosplayed out of its mind, on movies nowadays, everything, voiced by Arlene Sorkin, and that is Harley Quinn from Batman the Animated Series.
Which
didn't exist before the show.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
She originated with Batman the Animated Series and has become
just like Mr. Freeze.
Yep.
Did not exist before the show.
I didn't know that. I knew Harley Quinn didn't, but I didn't know Mr. Freeze.
Yep.
That's awesome.
And come on, Harley Quinn, fucking boner.
Yeah. Oh,
the costume is ridiculous, real life, but come on.
But it works.
First boner,
because that's
right
that style. Yeah. First boner. Hey, anyone? Hands up. Hands up. My wife just popped up in chat. Your first boner, Lisa? Huh? Harley Quinn? All right. Perfect. No, but like
100%.
Such a staple of that show. Too. Like almost just her and then Mark Hamill's Joker back and forth was just
she helped make
brilliant. Yeah.
Not make the Joker, but it's
almost
I feel
like
like
he didn't need it, but it was there anyway to bring it to a whole nother level, which was brilliant.
That's funny.
She was also a little bit of the bringing him back down to earth.
Yeah.
She was crazy, but she still kept him in line.
It's funny you both say what you just said, because I feel like Joker is like a volatile hot air balloon, and Harley Quinn is like the anchor that he didn't know he needed.
Yeah.
Because it's like you take Joker in a vacuum and he's fine. Like it exists on his own, no worries. You bounce him off from Harley Quinn and it just magnifies everything.
Oh yeah.
It's just great.
And the voice alone, like just it was so like the accent, how it was done was so different from anyone else in that.
So much swagger
50s with the very and obviously very sad backstory and everything, but it was like the person she was becoming who she always wanted to be, but at an extreme degree. Like you said, the swagger, the confidence in everything she did. And then just bashing everything. Like you said, the costume was ridiculous, and she just walked around with this giant ass hammer. Like, doesn't make sense. But in that show, like, it matches. It makes sense with the Joker.
Fit so perfectly.
Yeah.
She it was almost as if she had existed in the Batman mythos long before she showed up.
Yeah.
They just made her show up as this is a thing.
Yeah, and
you've known it's a thing. It hasn't existed, but it's a thing.
Right. Well, and she, like you said, she's kind of this foil for Joker, and there are a lot of. I really like the animated series introduced this character that they explored in comics because she became so popular.
Oh yeah.
That you couldn't, and everything that the animated series has flavored the comics and the movies. I mean, there's a scene in the show where to defeat Two-Face, the first time he encounters him, he throws a bunch of coins up in the air with Two-Face's coins, and that's how he defeats him. That's the way they beat him in Batman Forever. They have lifted items straight from the animated series to flavor Batman going forward. And Mr. Freeze, Harley Quinn, these are all characters that originated with the show but took on such a life because, I mean, all of us, I mean, we're in our 30s, you know, and our age group are now the people that are, you know, making the movies or writing the comics or animating the comics, and we all remember this show because it was popular. I don't know of anybody who's like, where you're like, Batman the Animated Series was a great show, and they're like, nah, that sucked. If they did, they'd probably get killed because then I'd have to stab them. But
it's either I loved it or I just missed it. I never saw it. Yeah,
I never saw it. Exactly. Yeah. You say to someone, "I am the Knight," and they either like are like, "Oh my god," or
what?
Or they're dead to me.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I love that quote. I am the Knight, I am the vengeance. Because I didn't realize that it came from Batman the Animated Series, but occasionally it'll pop into my head. And I'm like, because I see Batman and I'm like, I am the Knight, I am vengeance. And then I'm like, I was watching it the other day and I'm like, oh, that's where that came from.
Yep. Yeah, him like molding or like just kind of melding into and coming out of the shadows hasn't been done in film yet.
Yeah.
Live action film. And I want to see the day that occurs. But it hasn't.
But at least we have the animated series where it did happen.
Exactly.
With that sexy ass voice. That was a boner voice.
Kevin
That was a
Conroy.
boner
Yes.
voice.
That was a confused sexuality boner voice.
That is correct.
Like, I'm pretty sure I'm into chicks, but oh my god.
But I kind of want to be in
dick in
him.
that
It's
voice.
weird.
Jim Gordon's voice wasn't bad either. Like, he doesn't get a lot of lines, but
It was Bob Hastings.
he had
right?
a deep, sexy voice. I have no idea.
And I didn't the
Hastings.
whole joke
I'm
of
good.
Gordon saying, I hate when he does that. When Batman just disappears.
He just
I didn't
disappeared.
realize it. It was in the cartoon in like episode 4.
Yeah.
Batman just disappears. He's like, I hate when he does that.
Mm-hmm.
I always saw it as like, I didn't remember him saying that. So when I saw other Jim Gordons do it, I was like, okay, it's like an homage to Gordon being like, ugh, fuck you.
Like College Humor really cashed in on that with their Joker.
Yes.
And they really cashed it, but it had been around forever. Yeah. So we haven't talked at all about Robin or Poison Ivy.
Scarecrow, who had one of the freakiest faces in that cartoon.
Oh, yeah.
His mask, terrifying. That big grin. Ugh.
Can we? Okay, let me know if I'm the only one. I was not a fan of the Penguin. I didn't.
Nope. Never.
Yeah.
Didn't do it for me.
I don't think anybody's really a fan of the Penguin. Like,
I
in
wasn't-
people's top rogues gallery, he's not really one that usually ends up there, except for the fact that he shows up a lot.
Yeah.
As
a
just
lot.
like, hey, I'm the Penguin. Screw you. And then Batman punches him in the face.
Well, because like
until like the Batman Forever with Danny DeVito.
No, that was
It
awful.
actually,
It was a great. It wasn't Batman Forever. It was
I didn't
Batman
think he
Returns.
did great, but that they gave him more of a backstory, and then he seemed more interesting in one of the games. But it's not that interesting.
Arkham City,
I
he
thought
has,
the
he
live
has
action-
an interesting.
Go ahead, Russ, sir.
I was just going to say, Arkham City, he has an interesting story. He does have some interesting story in the comics, but in the animated series, he never really shows up. And most of the times when he did show up, he was the joke. Except for that vulture. That vulture would be terrifying. A giant vulture swooping down on you. F that noise.
Well, I remember even as a kid, I'd be like, oh, another one of these episodes. You know, like, even as a kid, I was like, I don't feel it. He's just, I don't know. Like, in a world where you have Two-Face as that, like, really messed up gangster, I was like, what does the Penguin bring that he doesn't?
Yeah. Like an
a
abuse.
suit and
I have a long
that's
nose.
really cool.
Yeah.
I have a
the
James
top
Bond
hat.
umbrella that can do shit that is not possible.
It's pretty cool.
I like.
It was cool, but suspension of disbelief was kind of out the door when it came to Penguin.
I hated what the Tim Burton movie did with the Penguin and made him like a deformed short dude. Like, I didn't like that.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed the idea of him just being like a short businessman. They called him the Penguin because he always wore a tux. He didn't wear a suit. He wore a tuxedo
Mm-hmm.
all the time, just because he could.
Well,
But I didn't.
I like the, I don't know, the tormented bit, like only because I felt bad for him.
Yeah.
I understood
I
where
loved
something
the
so
temper.
simple that is out of your control and people giving you shit over it, and you going to that's the part that I was like, okay, that's interesting. That's more interesting than I have a long nose and
wear a tux.
I love ice stuff. I'm not quite Mr. Freeze, but I really want to fuck a penguin, so call me penguin, but don't.
In terms of like the animated series, I always thought that he was one-upped in every aspect of his personality. Like
he
his
was
billionaire genius, one-upped by the Riddler. His maniacal craziness, one-upped by the Joker. His unpredictableness, one-upped by Two-Face. His like realism, one-upped by Clayface. Like
he was a good gangster, though. He was a more interesting gangster than Falcone or any of them. Just because he was more than just a gangster.
I loved Rupert Thorne. Rupert Thorne was my like. If they brought in a mafia person,
he was the Godfather.
He was, and he had a great voice.
But I never saw that movie, so I didn't quite have that tie. I saw
no. Rupert Thorne in the animated series was he shows up. He shows up a lot. He's usually a bit character. He's like one of the head mafioso bosses.
Yeah. Was he the
but
white?
You're right. Penguin. Yeah, he had the white hair. He was kind of a bigger dude. He had like the green suit.
As a kid, he's more interesting now, but I've only made it like 4 or 5 episodes back in. So
yeah.
But
you're right. Penguin. He was usually the fluff episodes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It was like here, let's introduce some kids that find Batman and then hide him in their basement. Who's a good villain? Well, Mr. Freeze would kill him. Joker would definitely like just blow up the house. Penguin's an idiot. Let's throw him in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was like the non-serial episodes.
Yep.
Yeah.
I swear, bud, you're never going to be able to finish this episode. I know you have show notes. I know you have key points.
Do you know me?
Looking it up.
Yeah. What makes you think that Bud has key points?
I made show notes the first 4 episodes of Just Some Guardians.
I know Bud as
so
one of the smartest people I know. So,
you need to know
either I'm stupid or I have him on a high pedestal.
He's a wickedly all the beard.
Yeah. My brain's actually
That's a sexy beard.
Thanks.
Brett is very intelligent. He just does not have show notes.
Yeah, I just don't have
that. I know for sure.
I will hug him and squeeze him and name him
Squishy.
Brett.
Oh, hey.
He shall be my Brett.
No, thanks. Stop it. But
We'll fuck the shit out of Brett.
I understand. So actually, a couple things I want to hit on. You guys look great tonight.
Yeah.
But no, so we've talked a lot about the general tone of the show. I'm not wearing pants right now. I'll prove it. The general tone of the show. Even as a kid, there was this more adult theme that happened that I still really leached onto, and that was when the character of Ra's al Ghul became a major part of the show. David Warner was the voice, and it really. Because I think when Ra's al Ghul became really leached into this show, it was interesting because it wasn't just like Bruce Wayne was he was there. Like Bruce Wayne was the guy, you got to see some of it, but that was one of the few air quotes villains, however you want to look at him, right? That really went back and forth with both sides, and I don't know. It was something I remember leeching onto. And I was like, this is a really... that's when I got more into the writing of the show than the actual that was funny and that action scene was cool. Yep. Like Ra's al Ghul was such an interesting guy that I was like, okay, storytelling's a thing my young brain suddenly is appreciating. Yeah, I always saw him as the opposite side of what Bruce could have turned into. Absolutely.
Yeah. I was always drawn to the episodes involving him and like moral dichotomy between himself and Bruce Wayne / Batman.
Yes.
The same level that I was always drawn to the mentoring focused episodes between he and Robin or Dick Grayson.
Yeah.
And I always thought those both, like both of those episodes I hold like near and dear to my heart, because one teaches you, okay, being morally gray is one thing, but being morally deficient is another, while
Yes.
pretending to be morally gray. Because there's one thing where you're vigilante justice. Yes, you can argue the right or wrongness in vigilante justice, but being just completely morally deficient while claiming to be morally gray is a different thing.
Yeah.
But then those same episodes where it's almost like they were trying to graft the lessons they're trying to teach the children directly onto what they're like what Bruce or Batman is teaching Robin / Dick. Both of those style of episodes, really. Hey, you know, someone giving you hard dick like 40 years ago was them telling you straight, telling you like it is. So there's actually a comic frame of Iron Man telling Captain America that, hey, Cap, it's time someone gave you some hard dick. And it's just him saying, it's time someone told you like it is. Just saying.
I learned something tonight.
But
I'll give you all some hard dick, but it's not the old way.
And actually,
Or maybe
so
it is.
another villain that like popped up periodically that I think a lot of people forget about, and I'm sure y'all are going to go when I bring this up, is it was very fascinating, and as I got older, it was terrifying, and that is the ventriloquist in Scarface.
I fucking love them. I love them so much.
So incredible. And it like yeah, I knew you would. Like, you know, when I said the penguin popped up, I was like, oh great, here we go.
Oh.
When they'd pop out, I was like, yay! Like it was just
I was glued to the TV
Yeah.
whenever I saw them.
you had Scarface doing this thing in the ventriloquist. It's just this balding, terrified guy sweating all the time and batting the sweat off while everything's going on, and like
You forgot he's just a ventriloquist.
yeah,
Like
putting all that through the puppet. It's
Well, because they
terrifying.
always did the thing. He
he was the
ventriloquist?
schizo.
Well,
kind
but
of thing,
the thing is the way the cartoon portrayed it was
Actually a ventriloquist.
yeah.
or, like-
Who is controlling who here?
Who is
Well,
the
they-
monster and who is the man?
Again,
Sorry.
Batman, DC writes its villains exponentially. Like, I would argue that you look at the cardinal DC villains, they all represent some form of mental illness taken to the extreme.
Mm-hmm.
Well, especially Batman. Batman's in particular, they are, even Batman himself is a product of mental disorder. Like, but
Grod.
Well, and when I say DC villains, I was like, when it comes to like the dichotomy of mental illness and the spectrum of mental illness, definitely the Batman villains.
Yeah.
right,
100%.
they're all that really matter anyway.
Yeah.
The rest are just garbage.
Yeah, Mixelplick begs to differ. Kidding.
I know the name. No idea.
Superman.
It's a Superman villain.
Fuck Superman villains. Except Brainiac. Whole nother subject. Batman the Animated Series.
Correct.
Oh God, I forgot about Baby Doll.
What are we talking
That
about?
was terrifying.
Talking about Star Wars.
Baby Doll was so damn
I
creepy.
hated Baby Doll. Ugh.
Oh my.
No.
I don't remember who that is.
No.
Don't look it up. It was I tried
She
to block
looked
that
like
out of
an
my mind.
8-year-old, but she was like a 40-year-old woman
No.
with
Yeah,
like dwarfism or something.
Okay,
Oh my gosh.
One other thing I wanted to talk about after you guys here. If there's anyone else you guys want to talk about, let's get into it. And then after that, I have one more thing, and then we will head out.
Make
you guys
like a
got?
baby.
Yeah, what do you guys got? What do you want to talk?
Ugh. Ugh.
This is your chance. It's your last chance.
See, now I'm blinking because you put me on the spot.
I know. That's why I put
What do
you
you
on the
think? What do you
spot.
think of like the transition from Robin deciding to leave Batman's wing and becoming Nightwing?
Oh, I love Nightwing.
Nightwing's
Nightwing
awesome.
is my favorite DC superhero. Nightwing is part of my sexual awakening.
Yeah.
Was that ever covered?
That's a really
it
cool
was
sexual
later
awakening.
on in the animated series, wasn't
And
it?
also, fuck Damian Wayne. Fuck him. I don't care.
Way later on, like right at the end.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I don't know. He's had some really good story arcs lately in the comics.
Yeah, we're talking about
I-
Batman the animated series right now.
I
So-
read.
I know. I'm just saying. He brought it up. Damian Wayne never shows up in the
Right. I
in the
haven't
animated series.
White Knight, so don't spoil, you asshat.
Yeah,
Animated series.
you asshat.
Shit. I know I missed
It's not the worst thing I've been called.
Matt Hatter.
Oh,
was
Matt
in a-
Hatter.
Yes.
Oh, yes, Matt.
Yes,
There we
I wanted
go.
to talk about
There we
him.
go.
Oh man.
About him.
Brilliant. The costume work and that who did it? Okay, I'm gonna look up his voice because he was.
I don't
so
know who
good.
did the voice, but it was so creepy. Like, Lindsay, I've had it on 24/7 the last couple of days to try and get as much in as I could. And Lindsay was like, she was watching that episode and she goes, I thought I was going to be really irritated with you watching this all the time and having it on all the time. But this is not bad. I was like, right? I was like, it still holds up.
Roddy McDowell.
And that,
there we go.
Really?
and that was that was one of the episodes, and his fixation on Alice, and that will they, won't they, will they, won't they join?
Stop.
The teeth.
Oh.
The teeth.
Oh
No.
he had that face of the
Done well.
The popped collar where it looks like he has no neck all the time.
super creepy.
Ooh.
The hat was so simple, but
Mhm.
the Mad Hatter's hat was iconic. I love the show because there were such simple things that are just frozen in your head.
Yeah.
That if they don't do it right in anything live action, anything future, it's just fuck.
Mhm.
Like, okay, Bane.
Oh yeah.
They went back and forth.
To talk like that.
He's a damn. Oh, I hate that movie. I hate that. He sounded like Scrooge McDuck.
Mm-hmm.
Third
I
Christian
couldn't understand a word he was saying.
Bane is a fucking genius. They
But they
gave it some in the animated series.
they didn't do him. That's the one villain that they didn't do justice in the animated series. They have never done him justice in anything outside of the comics.
No. The one with Diedrich Bader, where Joker had like a jester hat kind of hair. If you haven't seen that, they actually do Bane right.
The Batman,
The Batman.
the animated.
They do Bane better than anything I've seen so far.
I haven't seen any of the Bane episodes, but I love the Dracula versus the Batman.
I
That
don't
was
like
such
the
a good
look of
movie.
the show, but they actually did Bane correctly.
I loved it, and the Dracula versus Batman was fantastic. Anyway, we're talking Batman the animated series, not the Batman.
Batman mashed with Ninja Turtles, that was a thing.
Yes, it was.
Mhm.
And we choose to forget it.
Yep.
Oh, we're talking about the animated series.
Kevin Conroy.
She cream on my chest.
All right. Anyone else here?
I think I'm good.
All right. Okay. So
I'll
last
think
thing I
of
wanna
something
do-
as soon as you start to
Yeah,
talk about your
absolutely.
thing.
Yep.
So the last thing I want to say is like, for each of you, what was just the weirdest fucking episode that you were like, what is happening right now? I'll go first so you guys can think. You remember this episode of me? I've rewatched this one recently and I was like, who wrote this episode? Fire from Olympus. With
with the Zeus.
with Zeus and
Yeah.
the cannon on the roof of the office building and everything. That whole episode, I was like,
Wow.
what the fuck is happening right now?
Yeah, that was bad.
That was Zeus. He's got this thunderbolt cannon he's going to destroy everyone with, and he gets pushed into it and blows up there, and he's like totally dressed up. It looks like a Roman Coliseum on the roof of this office
Making
building.
me remember things I didn't even know were in my memory.
Yeah, you remember this episode now?
Them 'cause it was so fucking bad.
That
like-
was,
What is happening?
for whatever reason, that is one of the standout episodes to me. Like, I just remember
Mm-hmm.
that.
Yeah, that was a
Okay.
weird one.
Yes.
I can't even remember what episode it was, but I vaguely remember Batman doing like an Adam West Batman. No! There was like a freeze frame.
For those of you in the audio, his microphone cut off because he was screaming the word "no" for a very extended period of time. So all we saw was a very intense O face.
Exactly. It was Batman doing some weird, like very 50s O face. Fuck, I can't even remember where it was from. It was so bad.
That was great. Top tier.
Yeah.
I haven't.
Let it be known, everyone loves my O face.
Yeah,
It's true.
I do
It's
now.
true. Give us your O face.
Yeah. Show me your O face.
Huh?
I didn't do my homework like Russell did. I didn't go back and watch it, so I'm like basing everything off from last watching any of this show 20 plus years ago.
Mhm.
But literally, the episodes that stand out most to me for just how much they affected me, and it was weird at the time. In retrospect, I understand it more. Was the Clayface mental breakdown episode?
Yep.
Because I remember sitting in the living room with my younger sister sitting next to me. She's like 10 years younger than me. She was like 3. And we were watching this together. And I remember like, cannot compute. Like, what am I watching? What is happening right now? I don't understand this. And then she looks at me and is like, what's happening? And I'm like, like sparks are shooting out. I'm like, I don't.
You look like
understand.
Clayface as he's going through his transformation.
Yes. Like I got nothing for you because I don't get it. That cements Clayface is like a solid top level villain for me just because of the mental hula hoops I had to jump through. Hula hoop? You don't jump through hula hoops. The mental hoops I had to jump through.
It was
just to
crazy because people
reconcile
were
it.
hula hooping while I was jumping through them. It was crazy.
It was like an ostrich exhibit without the ostrich.
Without the
You
exhibit.
said that. I remember the episode where I can't remember. There was a giant tower computer system that made a Bruce Wayne robot.
Oh, and you had to like sword
That
fight the
wore-
robot.
And suit.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
And it had like a mental breakdown
Yes.
because it could. Fuck
Look at
you
this.
for making me remember that.
You're having a mental breakdown, remembering a mental breakdown
Breakdown.
after hearing about a mental breakdown.
Whoa.
That was such a mind fucking episode.
Yes.
That was a
man.
good episode.
This
It was
show
Really good episode.
this show was a psychological study in and of itself.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like
It
I
was
think
conductive.
someone in psychology could write their thesis on this show.
I'm sure they have.
I bet people have. Yeah.
Yeah,
We
absolutely.
should totally look this up.
I will. What do you got,
It's
Russ?
such a good fucking show.
I think there was an episode that I watched where, like, it made no sense. Well, what? Okay. I've already talked about the Penguin episode that's like with the kids, and it's definitely a filler episode. But there was one where Joker he comes in on like one of those garbage barges in the middle of the river.
Mm-hmm.
And like there's like it looks like it's really stinky because it has like the green vapors wafting up from it.
Yep.
And like hitting the entire city, but it's his laughing gas. And I don't remember, like, there was a point to that episode that I just can't remember. I just remember it not being great because it's like Batman gets in a fight and then there's all of a sudden this robotic clown that Joker calls the Captain.
Captain Clown, yeah.
Captain Clown.
Captain Clown.
Beats the crap out of Batman. And then like, but they're diving for something at the bottom of the river. And it was just a weird episode.
Yeah, I must have blocked that out.
Yeah, I'm looking at it now. That was I remember that one now. That was a weird one.
Okay, I was gonna say maybe, Russell was fucked up in the head.
He
what's
did
my
shrooms that day.
Per usual.
I wouldn't put it past me.
But again,
Shrooms and Batman, they're a great mix.
the more news later. 'Cause now I want to try that. No, I don't. Anyway,
Do a baby doll.
Can you
episode.
imagine the trip
is
that
the
you would go
episode
on?
of Everybody interrupt FUD and just derail the show the whole damn time.
Thank you for joining us for episode 92. No.
That's
All right.
every episode of Just Some Guardians.
Guys,
Yeah.
I think we did it. Did we do it?
Did we?
We did a lot.
I
We
think
did.
did.
I think we're good.
We did a thing.
But
We did a lot of
didn't come
things.
yet.
Take your time.
Just let it
Direct eye contact right now. Ah, beautiful. All right, guys. Hell yeah.
fall.
Do we, it's late, so I'm going to ask you guys, do we want to do story time or do you want to just end the show? I know it's like 2 in the morning for some of you.
I'm fine.
Okay. Phoenix, you good?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay. Bum-ba-dum-ba-dum. Story time. Oh, it's cute
Right.
kid
You didn't
voices.
ask me.
Russell, no one gives a shit.
Story time.
You were late. You don't get asked.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
It's-
told Brett that I was going to be late. It's not like it was a all of a sudden thing.
It was.
I told him yesterday.
when
No,
you
it was
told
all-
me, it was all of a sudden.
Correct.
Oh.
He told all of us you would be there on
I
time.
read, you can ask Lisa. She's asleep now, so you can't ask her right now. But I read that text and I was like, Lisa,
So
that was sudden. That was all of a sudden.
Well, because I remembered last night. It's when it finally the dots connected in my head, and I was like, "Oh, I have this thing tomorrow." And then I was thinking about the podcast, and I was like, "Oh crap, they're on the same day.
Yeah.
Friday
anything-
is the same day."
is anything half of a sudden?
How long have you been doing this fucking show, Russell?
Not very long.
Very compartment.
Actually,
Revival hasn't been.
Yeah,
Holy shit.
it's been like a month.
But no, literally,
Uh,
things can be all of a sudden. But has anything ever been half of a sudden or a partial sudden?
I quarter sudden all the time.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what they used to
I
call me in
three-fourths of
middle
a
school,
sudden?
was the quarter suddener. Don't ask.
My God.
I carried it in high school too.
Here goes classic quarter suddener.
Oh dear.
Yeah. All right,
So-
cool.
Flatulated by that all of a sudden.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to Story Time, the part of the show where we all tell a story in gaming from our past. We're just some guards. We get nostalgic on the show. Who wants to go first? That's really good.
I
Russell, take us
I'm the
away.
Oh no! Don't do me.
I know you're drawing, so I had to put you on the spot.
Yeah. Let's see.
That was deep, man. That was a really good story.
I can go first if you want to think.
Yeah,
go
go for
for
it.
the night.
Okay, it's gaming, but it's tabletop gaming, and
It's
it's
gaming.
reminiscing about something Brett and Russ were present for digitally. It's the first time we played our hat trick campaign, and Matt, who played Tanakh at the time, was at my house, and we recorded, or we filmed like we were together.
Yeah.
And it was, I'll never forget, this is just a short story, but I'll never forget when I opened my mouth as Jag and he just looked at me. Because
Oh,
it was
that's
the first time he had ever heard it in person
Yeah.
after playing for months. And I'm like, Beard. And he just like looks like, what the hell? I'll never forget that because he almost fell out of the chair that he was sitting in.
Because you guys
And
were
it-
in the same frame, and he like was
Right.
out of frame for a second, and you
Yeah,
started
we were
busting a gut.
right next to each other.
Yeah,
So I'll never forget that. That's just a fun story that lives in my brain rent free.
that's so awesome. All right, Russ, you had time to think.
Man,
Do it.
I know you
Now.
didn't think.
Putting me on the spot.
That wasn't actually someone took the fall for you, so you wouldn't be on the spot.
I thought somebody else was gonna go.
Someone
okay.
who hasn't drawn Mythos, despite telling me 2 years ago he was almost done drawing Mythos. Just saying.
Whatever.
You should.
Whatever.
Story time.
Story time.
Kevin.
So This is my story. I will never draw Mythos because I enjoy too much Nyx. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Okay, so I was playing Dark Souls, as one does, but it was my first playthrough.
Which one?
Okay, Dark Souls.
Oh, okay.
The first one, Dark Souls.
Dark Souls.
So there's
Dark Souls.
Dark Souls.
Sure.
So, there's this part
Kevin
in
Conroy.
Dark Souls
Cream on your chest.
Was it in my mind it's worse than Blighttown, which is notoriously
Oh, I hate Blighttown.
terrible.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Blighttown sucks. But there's this place that you come down to, and it's like the sewers, so it's like one of the first areas.
So it's like shitting.
Huh?
It's like shitting your pants.
Oh yeah, no, well, because you get to this area, and then all of a sudden there are these freaky frogs that are hopping around, and they have these huge eyeballs, and then they're frogs. Yeah.
Do they blink?
They don't, because they're actually not their actual eyes; they're just vestigial.
Ugh.
If you look really closely, so their faces are actually, they have like these beak mouths, and then they have eyes right above them, and then they just have like
orca
these
thing where kids think that
massive
they blink
tumors.
their eyes. Yeah.
Yeah. But they hop around and they have these huge eyes, but then when they hop close to you, they breathe out this fog. Now, me being a scaredy cat, like, I immediately see this fog and I'm like, F that noise. I don't know what this does, but I've played this game enough to know that that is terrible. So I'm trying to avoid it, but there's like, so you're running away from them, and then you get chased by 5, because in Dark Souls, apparently nothing, once you aggro something, it'll just follow you forever.
Gross.
And so there are like these 10 frogs, so I get encompassed in this fog, and I turn to stone, and I'm cursed because it's an immediate death, and now you have to go back and get your stuff. That wasn't the story, but it's part of it. So I'm paranoid, and I get to the end of this level.
The story, yeah.
And
someday.
Whatever. So you come down. I know I'm entering a boss room. You always know when you're entering a boss room in Dark Souls, and so it shows this animation, and at first it looks like the head of a crocodile is coming up over the side of this cliff. And then all of a sudden you see it elongate into this massive torso, and up on the top it says Gaping Dragon, and you realize that this thing is probably 50 feet long, and 50 feet of it is this gaping mouth that juts from its chest, and it does this move where it just slams on you and then eats you. I freaked out. I was like, nope. I'm trying to like get through the fog cloud back, and I'm like, no, and it ate me, and that's the end of the story.
This still sounds like a massive penis eating you wet dream.
It kind of looks like a massive penis.
Which we've all had.
Have you drawn a massive penis, Russell? Is that what you're drawing right now?
Yeah.
Occasionally. No,
They say depending on what you eat recently is how you dream.
I always eat penis before I go to sleep. So
just devouring just handfuls of cock.
Just
it's not a bowl of raisin bread. No, it's penis.
Yeah. Penisos, the best bedtime snack this side of the Mississippi.
Brought to you by Just Some Guardians.
Brought to you by Just Some Guardians. Yeah.
Sure.
And the cover box will just be a gorilla running with big balls. That's just throw back to the beginning of the show.
Oh,
hey, Phoenix, what do you got, brother?
I forgot for half a second. I guess the funniest story I can think of at the moment. I never got the Flawless Raider in D1.
Mm-hmm.
Shame.
Because 2 people running it, Crota's End, when you could still glitch the bridge. I had never made it to the top of the tower at the bridge area to where you're out of the area so you don't have to die. I was standing at the top when my buddy was across the bridge, and he's like, okay, go. He meant start jumping to get to the top. I was already there.
Mm.
The only way I'd ever done it was die. So I'm like, oh, okay. So I jump off and die. That was the only death the whole fucking time. The only time I ever made it to the top. I never got Flawless Raider because of that. Because he said, okay, and I was worried to clarify. I just assumed he meant just fucking die so we can get through it.
Guys, this is the run. I feel it in my soul. Whee!
And I died, and he's like, what the fuck are you doing? How'd you die? You told me to go, so I jumped off the out of area place. You fucking
I'm sure
idiot.
he had I was about to say, I'm sure that he had a few choice words
Oh, yeah.
to
But
indicate exactly.
the same guy that I pushed off the tower, I don't know how many times, staying up till 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. He was falling asleep. I'm just pushing him around the tower, whatever. So it is fine. But that is the exact reason why I don't have Flawless Raider for D1. The only achievement I never got. Because he said, okay, go. And I jumped off.
Oh my god.
Sounds like something I would have done or have done.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, so my story involves my daughter. This is a few years back when I discovered that she's learned a lot from me.
Mm.
So we were playing Minecraft, right? And she
That's not
goes,
great.
Dad, let's each make a obstacle course for the other person. And I was like, that sounds awesome. So we set up where we couldn't look at each other's screens, right? And I'm like, oh, this is so fun. And so I built her this really cool obstacle course that I think she can do. I've got like lava pits with some jumping, and like climb up a ladder and go through. I made this maze. It was really cool. And so this was a few years back. So she was very young. And so, she does mine and gets through it just fine. And she's like, oh, that was so fun. I was like, yeah, yes, nailed it. And so I go over to hers and it's like one tall purple tower with a ladder and a door. And like, that was it. And I was like, we're supposed to build obstacle courses. She goes, I built it for you, Dad. And I was like, all right, well, she doesn't give an obstacle courses. I get that. So I climb up the ladder and I walk through the door. And the second I walk through the door, there's a trap door and I fall through and fall to the center of like the Minecraft world into a lava pit. And the second I start falling, she's next to me going, you idiot. You fell. Just cackling uncontrollably at just the top of her lungs. Oh my God. I was like, you've learned well, young one. It was a beautiful parent moment. She lulled me to false sense of security with just a tower. Yeah. I was like, girl.
Before, she was but the learner, but now
no, she is the master. Exactly.
That's so great.
Oh my God. It was so good. All right. I think we did have an email real quick. I think we had one.
Hey, did we get our music?
No, not yet. Not yet.
Okay. Gun bait. I'm calling you out.
All right. We have a question incoming in here. Phoenix, this is your question.
Yes.
We haven't been able to ask it yet. So, like, you emailed it to us. I don't know if you remember this or not.
Oh, I forgot about that. Shit.
Yeah. Okay. So you can answer your own question tonight too. Well, let's start with Nick. We'll go Nick, Russell, and then Phoenix, and then myself. Okay. I don't know what time you sent this. What time? That wasn't like 3 a.m. Okay. Question from Arisen Phoenix to the show. If you put all your dicks in a line, how long before you touch yourself?
3.
Okay. Russell.
42.
Okay.
42.
Phoenix.
Oh. Maybe 1.
Okay. So for me, so like Like I'm more of like an innie than an outie. You know what I mean? It's like a deformed belly button. So like technically, I'm already touching myself. So
Okay.
See, to clarify, that started out as how long would it reach? But I find it funny to fuck with people's heads,
yeah,
you know?
and mine's inside. So
And again, I'm a button on a fur coat. So it's more of how long are Nick and Russell's dicks?
okay,
Minus
okay.
like 1.5.
okay. That was a good question.
Yeah.
I feel like
Not
I
really.
talked more about myself than I should have.
Based
The
on
answer is still 42.
based on health studies, above average.
Yeah, I don't think the average is true.
It's
I think it's
weird
bullshit.
because how the innie, it's like when I'm jogging,
Jake's
it's like
a
I'm
lucky
fucking
man.
myself. It's weird. Don't worry about it. All right.
That's just cold weather.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Sorry. There you go, folks. We did it. We made it
Oh
through
my
an
gosh,
episode.
it is
What?
we're in Texas. It is 18 degrees here currently. There is
It's 19. It's
ice
18
on-
degrees here. We have the same weather. Ha!
it is ice on everything because it rained yesterday. So there's just like this much ice on everything.
It's 5 degrees here.
I've had like 3 inches of ice on everything for like a week. Fuck
We
off.
Still talking about penises?
I live in Texas.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Okay, cool.
I'm married, so yes, I've had 3 inches of ice on my dick, which makes it look way bigger. I'm okay with it.
Enjoy the lake effect that living just west of Detroit gives us. We don't really get the ice. We get just snow.
Just bleh, yeah.
Temperatures.
Who wants my popsicle?
Me.
Y'all want
I haven't
Y'all
seen the
want
muscle
pops?
paper boy in a while. Where'd you go?
to
All right, we're falling down the hill. Here we go. Hey, everyone. That was a show.
Boy.
A Risen Phoenix.
Mm.
In the future, when you're not arousing literally all of us, where can people find you?
Fuck if I know. Risen Phoenix on pretty much everything. The O is a 0, and Phoenix is PHOENIX. I hate when I see it spelled wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think Instagram, it's Risen Phoenix. That's about the only place it's not a Risen Phoenix.
Right on, man.
I try to keep branding.
I like it. Unlike someone I know.
Russell.
Well, I wasn't going to say names, but I mean, you brought it up. But no, dude, legitly though, thank you for being here tonight, man. That was a really fun topic that like went incredible. Like that was such a fun show.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Well, by the end, I felt like, because granted, I joked at the beginning, like, let's talk about the most chill topic ever, politics and religion. And then I said, all I could think about is Batman. And you're like, dude, come on.
That's a big
Batman?
Yeah.
There's a lot. And I'm like, okay, comics or original cartoon series, because that's what I know the best. And I was like, oh, comics are so fucking deep. We still went there.
Yeah, of course.
But I was like, okay, animated series. That's, 2 hours at best. Nah, we fucked the shit out of that pig. And didn't even cover all of it.
Yeah.
Nope.
That's because I like big anus.
So, but it's
Thank you, Russell.
only second time on the show, but it's always amazing talking to you guys. Always a great time.
I'm glad, man. We love having you.
I'm happy to be here.
And that shirt looks good on you.
Damn right,
Yeah,
because
it
my
does.
man titties.
He
Look
shirt.
at my nipple.
She shirt.
He shirt, she shirt, cream on my chest. Kevin Conroy.
Kevin Conroy.
Biatch.
Mr. Sandbag Bob. Where can people
Correct.
find you on the old interwebs?
They can find me. They can find me on Sandbag Bob, on PlayStation Network, Instagram, Twitter, and anywhere else Sandbag Bob can be found, including Cash App.
Yep. Don't forget the
Including
Cash App. Sandbag Bob.
OnlyFans.
Yeah.
If you didn't bring it up, I was going.
You can find me on Cash App whether you like it or not.
Mr. Russell. Mr. Dr. Jex.
Don't do me like that.
Mr. Jackal.
Oh my gosh.
Which one today?
Where can the... You don't, okay, I thought about this. right? You were telling the story again of how like you changed your Twitter because you're looking for jobs, right? Like you have a job. Like rebrand yourself and just make it the same everywhere.
It's true. Do at the same everywhere.
Yeah. Then you could not do this really
You could just be
embarrassing
like-
bit
I'm the same everywhere. At the same everywhere.
and still get it wrong somehow.
Yeah. The same.
I would.
elsewhere.
Yeah. So
People
where
would
can
be like,
people
"How do
find
you spell that?" And I'd be like,
The same anywhere.
You can't find me anywhere. I'm gonna tell you the wrong handle.
Yeah.
So you're not gonna be able to find me anyway.
Guys,
Just jump in his DMs.
yeah, we'll just under the show
If
in
you
the show
find
notes
him.
will be the correct links. Just look there.
I am
You
an
You can find me on Twitter at
we go.
drjex. That's JEX 725.
Yep.
And then you can find me. You can find me on the Discord at Jackal7250.
You did it, Russ.
You did it.
And
Go
on
give it a blood.
OnlyFans as the biggest dick in existence.
Yeah.
Celebrate.
There was a whole lot of people
I
saying
gotta
things
see
at this
you
big
here.
day.
Don't worry about it. It's fine. Well, thank you everyone for joining us for episode 92 of Just Some Guardians. When we do the show, bloop, we're live. It's twitch.tv/JustSomeGuardians. Friday nights at 11:30 p.m. Eastern. That was a long one, folks. Cherish that and enjoy it. You can find
That's
us
what she said.
JustSomeGuardians.com, JustSomeGuardians@podbean.com, whatever you want.
Or he said.
All that stuff. Email us, justsomeguardians@gmail.com. Give us questions. Good questions, all right? We want to read it. We want to know it. We want to crave it, right? You can find us on Twitter at
We wanna make love to
JSGcast. Russell, just shut the fuck up. I'm doing the outro right now.
Shut the fuck up,
Do you
Russell.
need me to count to 10?
Do you mind, sir?
Do you need me to count to 10?
I got no
Yes.
respect. No respect around here.
1, 2.
Internally, Russ.
I like to
talked
call
about
you
this.
Jim Russell, but shut up.
You can find us on Twitter at JSGcast. Link to the Twitter, so you get in the Discord. You can go there and talk to us. Cool. Hey, everyone, I'm Elmer Fudd. You can find me on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, all those places at Elmer Fudd Games. Double M, double
D.
Russell,
Yep.
take us out.
Join us next week on Just Some Guardians for mutual chaos and utter incompetency.
Thank you.
Wakanda forever.
He shirt, she shirt.
Kevin Conroy.
Conroy.
He sells he-shirt, she-shirts down by the he-shirt, she-shirt shore.
That's not the line. DSG cream on my chest
Yeah,
is what you were supposed to say. You fucked it.
If you hadn't been late,
correct. We
Wow.
ad-libbed our intro today.
Although he's usually early, so
Russ, I would like to inform
it's a
you
positive for him.
that we
Boom.
DM'd Laz and sweated him to write us an ad. So he did it on the spot, and then we didn't even do the ad he wrote us.
Because that's
Sucker.
awesome.
Yeah.
Testimonialized it, and the
was
world
beautiful.
wept.
Oh, and you didn't get to see this, Russ. Check this out.
Oh yeah, check that out, Russ.
It's a mug.
Ooh.